sports presentation of SEC football is brought to you by Delta Airlines, serving more than 150 cities worldwide. Delta gets you there with care. And by Valvoline High Performance Motor Oil. Valvoline, because motor oil is not just motor oil. And by Holiday Inn. If you're a winner, we're on your way.
It's 79 degrees in Starkville, Mississippi. And for the first time since 1950, the University of Tennessee is playing the Mississippi State Bulldogs here at Scott Field. Tennessee with a thrilling victory in the kickoff classic, a last-second field goal by Phil Rich, and a big win over Colorado State. And Johnny Majors, who did such a great coaching job at the end of the season last year, has his Volunteers on a 7-game win streak. They are going for win number 8 in a row today. The last time Johnny Majors' team lost was November 8th of last fall. But they're playing a rebuilding and a question mark Mississippi State Bulldog team. They looked real good last week, beating Southwestern Louisiana by a score of 31-3, and they've always been tough here at Scott Field. So the Mississippi State Bulldogs, uncharacteristically playing in the daytime because of our television, and second-year coach Rocky Felker, he's only 34 years old. He got his team off to a 6-1 start last year. Let's talk about matchup. For the University of Tennessee, everybody's talking about Reggie Cobb, Tim.
And they ought to talk about Reggie Cobb. He's the most exciting thing that's happened with the ball. He gives you a flair of Keith Davis, and he's healthy, and he's just powerful.
And Jeff Francis has been a little bit of a question mark in the first 2 games.
Well, you know, he lost, and people don't put enough credence in this. He lost Anthony Miller, just a premier wide receiver, and it's almost like a pitcher losing a catcher, I think. You have to have supreme confidence in a receiver's ability to find the open area and get to it. But he has been a little inconsistent. They're a bit concerned about it, but I don't think it's anything major because their strength of their offense really is they've got the flash and the sizzle. But they've got Galbraith and Bruin and Kirk up front, just a powerful offensive line.
And it'll be a big test for that Mississippi State defense, particularly up front, in my opinion.
Yes, and we saw Mississippi State later in the year last year when they'd really been worn out. You know, their race had been run, and they've got some new enthusiasm, new vitality, a couple of new safeties in there playing, a good group of linebackers, and they're counting on Anthony Butts to anchor the middle.
Last year up in Knoxville, Don Smith, Mississippi State's all-everything quarterback, led the way to a come-from-behind victory. He's gone to the pros. Enter the era of Albert Williams.
Yeah, last year the offense was fairly simple for Mississippi State. It was Don Smith to the left, Don Smith to the right, and this year they've got Albert Williams, brought in a new quarterback coach, Steve Logan. You got Rocky Felker as a mentor, and they're really impressed with the freshman's maturity.
And they've got to face this opportunistic Tennessee defense.
No question about it, but they've got a running game this year, which they didn't have last year. A young freshman, David Fair, that's just a powerful, powerful running back.
We'll be back for the kickoff in just a moment. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. Scott Field in Starkville, ready for the kickoff. The deep back, number 39, John Moore, a wide receiver. He's a junior from Philadelphia, Mississippi. Will take the kick off the foot of Dirk Borgonone. He's a freshman from Reno, Nevada. This game is underway. Moore at the 3. Penalty marker down, and Moore is down at the 24. Initial hit for the University of Tennessee by defensive back Kelly Days, a 21-yard return, and there will be a penalty. The man in the white hat is today's referee, Rom Gilbert. The penalty against the Bulldogs. So they'll have to start in the hole.
Well, as you can see last week, Bob, in the Florida University of Miami game, field position is such an important factor.
Run back! First down!
They move it back to the 10-yard line, where Albert Williams, the redshirt freshman, will lead the Mississippi State Bulldogs. He's 6'2", 200 pounds from Jackson. Williams is the key to this offense. He is a great runner, 111 yards last week. However, there are question marks about his arm. Gary Frank, a true pro prospect at the strong tackle position. He's number 54. Keep your eye on Gary Frank. About 4 yards goes Hank Phillips, the starting tailback, the junior from Meridian. He'll be trading off with David Fair, that great young rookie running back. And there's Tennessee's defense, a real question mark at the nose guard position. Can McCray do the job against a good offensive line? Kelly Ziegler, Tennessee's senior linebacker, he's the leader on defense. Really good corners in McDaniel and Pepper, probably the 2 fastest corners in America. And the safeties are hard hitters, but they're young and relatively untested for the Tennessee defense. It is 2nd down, 6. Rodney Peters, the fullback, who's from Tucker, Georgia, and the senior gets a couple. It'll be a 3rd down conversion situation for the Bulldogs of Mississippi State.
Bob, Mississippi State's going to be conservative early on offense. They don't want to shake up Albert Williams. They don't want him to make any major errors. What he does best with the footballs at times is improvise. Didn't throw the ball that much last week. They really didn't have to. And I can't wait to see the young man begin to unload it because he's got a great arm.
3rd down. He's going to throw it. Straight drop back. It is complete over the middle for the 1st down to the tight end, Jesse Anderson, a sophomore from nearby West Point, Mississippi, part of this Golden Triangle area here with Columbus, Starkville, and West Point. And Rocky Felker likes him.
Little straight back, looking to the weak side all the way, Bob. He's got the back in the flat, tight end trying to slide across the middle. But Jesse Anderson, as you mentioned, a converted linebacker, 230-pounder, and he's got the speed to get deep, too.
1st down, 10 Bulldogs. From the 24, just underway, Scott Field, Starkville, Mississippi. 79 degrees, very good.
That's Hank Phillips, number 29. He drops the ball. Tennessee has recovered the fumble at the 15-yard line. The 8th caused turnover by the Tennessee Volunteers. Darren Miller fell on it after a great run by Hank Phillips of 65 yards. Terry McDaniel punched it loose.
Terry McDaniel does an excellent job here at the completion of this run. But look at the offensive line for Mississippi State work. A broken tackle by Phillips, and now it's a foot race. And look at McDaniel. Not too many people are going to run away from him. Watch him grab the ball. Watch his right hand. Now drags across the ball and tears it out from Hank Phillips.
On the 1st down, Tennessee out of the tailback. Out to the 21-yard line, the freshman Reggie Cobb. Here's the Tennessee offense. Junior Jeff Francis leads the way. He's from Mount Prospect, Illinois. Nobody recruited him up in the Midwest when he came to Tennessee. The man to watch, 34, Reggie Cobb. His high school idol was Herschel Walker at Georgia. That's why he wears 34. Harry Galbraith, the best offensive lineman for Tennessee, and they have a good offensive line, particularly between the guard positions. Cobb to the 33-yard line. Let's look at the Mississippi State defense, and they're going to have to be looking at this Tennessee run all day long. And Anthony Butts, who has not performed as well as a lot of folks thought he would coming out of high school, is the man under pressure in the middle. A strong core of solid linebackers for Mississippi State. And Bo Russell is probably the leader back there, but Milton Smith's a tough little cornerback. 1st and 10, Volunteers. Cobb to the left side. Not much this time. Stop at the 35-yard line. He was hit by 38, James Williams.
Just an excellent play by Williams. The strength of that Bulldog defense is the linebacking core. And they played exceptionally well last week. And as you mentioned, though, Bob, earlier on, we really don't know how strong Southwest Louisiana is.
For Tennessee, 2nd down 8 from the 35. Jeff Francis has receivers on a slot right formation. Play fake, springs it out to the right side. Thomas Woods, short of the 1st down. He was hit by Michael Taylor, number 28. So Francis now 1 for 1. Thomas Woods is a sophomore from Gallatin, Tennessee. Tennessee loves to throw it out quickly to the receiver.
Well, they've got those guys on the outside. They're just so exciting to watch. And, you know, you can hear the afterburners come on when Terrence Cleveland gets a ball, or Woods, or Anthony Miller in the past. And it's just exciting. And you have you got a problem on defense. You don't know if you take a man out there to defend against that or defend against the run.
Cobb gets it to about the 47-yard line. 2nd tackle of the game, 38, James Williams, the right outside linebacker for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Rocky Felker. They're calling it Rocky 2 here in Starkville, his 2nd year.
Rocky, the old quarterback at Mississippi State, has really revitalized this program here, and he doesn't miss a beat. He reminds me a little bit of George Allen. He scrimmaged these guys a few weeks ago at noon to get them ready for our early starting time with PBS.
Second down, 6 from the 47-yard line. No score in the ball game. Mix up in the backfield. Penalty flags everywhere. We have 10:49 to go in the first quarter. Mississippi State was moving the ball, had a first down, handed it off to their starting tailback, Hank Phillips. He broke it up the middle.
Offense.
Ball start on the offense. It moves back to the 42. Phillips broke it up the middle, ran it 65 yards to the Tennessee 15, where the ball was pulled loose by Terry McDaniel and fallen on by Darren Miller, and that's where the Volunteers took over. No score in the game. Second and 13, Tennessee now. Looked like a back move to the left side. May have been the freshman. I think it's going to be another Tennessee procedure penalty.
Good ball. Ball start. Interior lineman move.
Interior lineman moved, says our referee, Ron Gilbert.
The ball at the 37-yard line.
Looked like the right tackle. Was that Eric Still? It's hard to see the numbers for them this angle. They play strong tackle and what they call quick tackle, which is away from the tight end. Johnny Majors really got him on a roll. Got a little bit upset halfway through last year, and now 7 in a row.
Second and 18. Out of time for Francis. Complete to the tight end Middlebrooks. He gets back to the 42-yard line. Milton Smith, who's just 5'9", made the tackle.
And he is a fiery little competitor. You watch this young man. They'll try to throw it over his head to Harper, probably, because Harper's 6'5", and Milton's 5'9". Good job by the secondary of Mississippi State. Now, come on, Milton. Come up and make the tackle. Stop him right there. They got 3 yards, and you won.
Third down 8, Tennessee, from their own 47-yard line. 3-man rush. Francis all day to throw it. It's complete to number 5, Thomas Woods. First down, Volunteers. Inside the 40-yard line of the Bulldogs. 14-yard gain on the first down pass completion.
See Bernard McCullough working. He's trying to jam Woods there. Woods avoids the jam, then just begins to drift inside. Now, at that time, the pressure should have taken over from Mississippi State. They chose to rush just 3 linemen, and as you know, Bob, these receivers are smart enough to find that open area and get free.
Not a lot of time. Has a man. It is complete down the near sideline. That's Reggie Cobb, the freshman running back. Touchdown, Tennessee. 39-yard touchdown pass. And with 9:14 to go, quarter number 1, Tennessee has scored first with Francis connecting with the freshman sensation, Reggie Cobb.
Last year's defensive dilemma for Mississippi State was their inability to tackle people downfield. Once they broke through the linebackers, the secondary just had a hard time taking them to the turf, and a couple of missed tackles allowed Reggie Cobb to take that ball into the end zone.
Point after by Phil Rich is good. Tennessee leads 7-0. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System.
One deep. You see Middlebrook occupied McCullough, and Bennett gets there to make the stop, but misses. And I think Tennessee expected a 2-deep zone there, trying to get those people down the middle and then spread those safeties, but it was a 3-deep zone.
Reggie Cobb from Knoxville, Tennessee, said he never really considered going anywhere else, always wanted to play for the Volunteers. 85-yard scoring drive. That came after Hank Phillips had run for 65 yards, broken it up the middle for the Bulldogs. He was tackled at the 15 by Terry McDaniel. McDaniel pulled the ball loose. Darren Miller fell on it. Then Tennessee drove it 85 yards upfield.
And that reminds you of the Tennessee defense of 2 years ago. As you mentioned, opportunistic, and they're causing things to happen. They're giving the ball to their offense.
Organoni puts it in the end zone. It's going to be touched back by Moore. There have only been 2 kicks returned, and this being the early early part of the third game for Tennessee. This young kicker can really get it into the end zone. Reggie Cobb, you're going to be hearing us talk about him all day long. Now, Rocky Felker also has a young running back you haven't seen yet. That's number 44 for Mississippi State, David Fair, who's a freshman from Starkville. It's interesting as Cobb comes out of Knoxville, the hometown of the University of Tennessee, and here's David Fair, and he's in there now at tailback. You'll like this young man. 6'2", 220. First and 10, Bulldogs from their 20. They fake to fake.
Hadley's there. Incomplete. Hadley had it. Was knocked loose by McDaniel. Hadley almost caught the rebound and took it in. Well, the question marks about the strength of Albert Williams' arm can be answered. He's got a strong arm.
Unquestionably, he rocket ships this one out there. Hadley behind everybody. McDaniel hustles over from his cornerback position, pops the ball up, and eventually stays with it and tears it out. Terry McDaniel is an all-SEC performer, and he consistently is in the eye of the hurricane for them and breaking things up, causing things to happen.
Second down 10 from the 20. Albert Williams doesn't like the look of the Tennessee defense. First time out of the game for the Bulldogs. Terry McDaniel had the chance to make 2 defensive plays. He broke it up the first time. Hadley had another chance, and McDaniel was still there.
Your face takes enough abuse, so you need the Gillette Good News Plus disposable. Its LubriSmooth strip is designed to reduce irritation, so shaving feels so good. Good News Plus.
Okay, last time. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
In Columbus, Ohio, West Virginia has turned the ball over 3 times. Excellent field position for Ohio State. James Bryant finds the end zone. It's 10-0 in favor of the Buckeyes. Now back to Tennessee and Mississippi State.
Ohio State manhandling West Virginia. We'll keep you updated on all the scores around the nation today. Craig Sager will be in the studios. Halftime, post-game, during the game. Here, second down 10 from the 20 Bulldogs. First quarter, 9:05 left. Tennessee leads 7-0. David Fair. For the freshman. Tough to bring down. He gets an extra yard or so in his own effort. It was Darren Miller, 45, and 49, Kelly Ziegler, Tennessee's pair of fine linebackers with the stop.
David Fair last year was a Proposition 48 athlete, and as a result could not participate in football here at Mississippi State. Paid his own way, went to school, and I really feel that first year is important to not be bothered with the hassles of the big-time pressures of big-time football.
It's third down 7. Single setback is the fullback Rodney Peters. Tennessee with a 4-man rush. Williams going to have to tuck it in. He doesn't get it. Down to the 25, tripped up by Kelly Ziegler, and Mississippi State's Bulldogs will have to punt the ball away, and Kelly Ziegler is continuing that tradition of linebacking.
You know, he might be the best-kept secret in America. You'd be hard-pressed to find a linebacker that plays it more effectively. Look at him there. Drop back into his zone, does an excellent job, and then come up and knock the feet out from the fleet-footed young quarterback. Ziegler has turned out to be the leader of this defense.
A very poor punt. Tennessee's going to have good field position again. The ball to the 43-yard line. Tommy Parks with a problem on the punt. Andre Kramer with the return. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System.
Life, it flows just like a river, flowing through the people in your life.
When the threat of cancer was all around, Baptist Hospital's response broke through, using unique cancer treatment technologies found only in a select few cities. Specialized care that saves lives. That's what the Baptist Health System is all about, bringing technology to life.
You know, the other day I heard a car company advertising that the big one is back. Hey, this big one never left. This big one has always been around, telling you about the great deals at Dean Stallings Ford out in Oak Ridge. Right now, you can get out there and get 87 Fords, 1.9 APR financing, or up to $1,000 cash back. The 88s are coming in. The 87s must move. Nobody will give you a deal like Dean Stallings Ford.
Along with Tim Foley, this is Bob Neal from Scott Field in Starkville, Mississippi. 7:42 to go in the first quarter. Tennessee leads 7-0 after an 85-yard drive following a fumble recovery at the Tennessee 15-yard line. 34-yard pass from Francis to Reggie Cobb. Now it's 35 Howard and 34 Cobb in the Tennessee backfield. Francis has his man wide open. Terrence Cleveland couldn't hold on to it. Sophomore from Sweetwater, Tennessee, number 4, Terrence Cleveland.
Mississippi State thinks he's their best receiver now that Anthony Miller's out. They try to pump it to Woods, suck up the safety, and dump it in before the Asa Bennett's able to get there. And Bernard McCullough gets in a little after the whistle activity.
Now Alvin Harper, the freshman, is lined up at the top of your screen. You see his long legs. He's 6'5". He may continue the Tennessee tradition of great receivers. Popped into the air. The pass was intended for Woods. It was hit by 38 James Williams, who had good penetration. Batted it out of the air at the line of scrimmage. Brings up 3rd and 10 for Tennessee.
You watch Ronnie Gray, the defensive coordinator from Mississippi State, gambling here. You actually couldn't see it, but they brought the free safety. They were coming with everybody. They decided they got to mix in some pressure. You know, you're afraid to leave your defensive backs one-on-one with these lightning rods that Tennessee has, but you have to, every once in a while, roll the dice.
3rd and 10 from the 43. 3 wideouts, 1 tight end, only 1 setback. It's Howard. Francis all day in the pocket. Can't find anybody. Down at the 48. The penetration and the sack by Bobby Barlow. One of the killer bees for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. A 5-yard loss.
Francis going back and looking. Good protection. Plenty of time to throw the ball as he scans the field, but there was just nothing there. A nice job of coverage by Dyer Carlisle's defensive backs, Mississippi State.
Freshman is going to take the punt of Bob Garman. He's averaging 44 yards a punt. That one's not 44. Gets a good Tennessee roll, though. Goes out of bounds at the 13-yard line. No return on the punt by Bob Garman of 34 yards. And the Bulldogs will take over, trailing by a score of 7-0 with 6:54 to go in the first quarter from Scott Field in Starkville. So Tennessee had a great opportunity there, Tim. They got the ball at their own 43 after the short 29-yard punt from Mississippi State. Couldn't convert anything.
And the Mississippi State defense has to feel good about that. As we mentioned in the opening, we saw the Bulldog defense get manhandled by some teams at the end of the year, and they've got to have a confidence problem. Played with a lot of intensity last week, and they're stepping up to the plate today.
David Fair and Marcus Bush in the backfield behind quarterback Albert Williams. Here's David Fair. David Fair gets only a yard. Interestingly, he is an excellent back and has good movement, Tim, but the Tennessee defense is not giving Fair thus far a chance to get anything started.
Well, as you know, they're well coached. You got Kenny Donahue coaching those down linemen. He's been around for a while, and he has really done an excellent job preparing people to replace the injured Brian Hunt and Marco Vanek, because this is their second team they're playing with here.
2nd down 9 from the 14 for the Bulldogs. They give it to Bush. Finds the opening. First down. Out to the 26-yard line. Marcus Bush, the junior from Starkville, gets 12 yards. He's tackled by Tony Nelson, number 6 for Tennessee.
Just an outstanding job on the right side of the line. Watch Stan Sims there. And Gary Frank brought Gary back over to defense, comes and closes it off, and a nice trap by Durwood Minor. Pops the hole, and here goes Hank Phillips. He's seen more daylight today than he saw in the last 6 weeks last year.
I interviewed Gary Frank, that right tackle. He weighs 300 pounds. It's like shaking hands with a granite statue. 1st and 10 to the 26. A fast granite statue. Albert Williams, pressure. There he goes. goes. He's got 4.6 speed. Short of the first down to the 47, marked at the 33-yard line. Check that. Good quarterback pressure there by Richard Cooper, and he's been an interesting story. Had a good year 2 years ago, hurt last year, not playing much this year.
Now, as a defensive coordinator, what do you want to do? Cooper misses. I'd rather have him throw the ball than run, I think. You know, he's just like Don Smith in that sense. He scares you to death when he heads upfield.
Second down 4 from the 33. Has 4.6 speed in the 40-yard dash. 111 yards against Southwestern Louisiana last week, and only 8 carries for that quarterback. Here's that option. Nothing happening on it. Extra effort close to the first down. That was Bush. He was hit right at the line of scrimmage, wrapped up by Cooper, and may have got an extra yard, 2 and up for the first down. Spot looks like they may have it.
When you don't have depth on your football team, what happens is as you begin to lose important players, you lose some of your spunk and punch, and that's what happened to Mississippi State as the season went on last year. It was like a sprinter that was running a mile, and after the half mile, they didn't have anything left. They were just out of gas. But they're strong. They play strong in the beginning of the year, and they're developing more depth. They've had another good recruiting year, and Rocky's been happy with that. They're developing more depth and size.
Well, we're talking about Rocky Felker being so young, 34 years, 7.5 months, but he's not the youngest anymore. Mike Archer from LSU is at 34 years and 48 days. 3 of the youngest coaches in the United States are SEC coaches. Archer, Felker, and Watson Brown at Vanderbilt. First and 10 from 36. Fair in motion. Williams over the middle has his man, overthrew it. He was trying to find Fred Hadley, the junior from Tupelo. Hadley's a real speed burner. That's time remaining in the first quarter. Tennessee leads 7-0.
Hadley's their home run man. They're going to try to get it to him behind everyone. I'm not sure that he's a skilled ball carrier like some of these Tennessee receivers are. They're almost like converted running backs with a lot of speed. They scare you just as much as they have it in front of you as they do if they have it behind.
Second down 10. Bulldogs from their own 37-yard line. Loss on the play. They'll spot it right at the line of scrimmage, probably. Richard Cooper again making the tackle. So Cooper may be playing himself back into starting role contention here.
Just a quarterback draw. Try to get a set from the linebacker and find a hole. The linebackers, though, didn't get out of there. They really weren't fooled by it, and they stuck up in there close, were able to plug the hole.
Cooper had been suspended from the team earlier this year. Is not even in the media guide. Brought back to the team in a backup role. He is a senior. He's 6'5", 285, and a good player. Third down 9 for the 38. Albert Williams has his man open. Incomplete. Good coverage. There's penalty marker. It'll be first down. It was Andre Kramer trying to cover Darrell Kennebrew, the junior from Atlanta.
Now watch this. Well, we didn't really get to see him set up, but he looked as poised as any quarterback I've ever seen play. He's just, and I think that's the thing that's impressive. Andre Kramer tries to go across the front, and what happens? He hooked him with the right arm. Pass interference on that.
You think it really was pass interference? That may be the second time you've ever seen it.
Yeah, that might be. Now, Kevin Steele, a secondary coach from Tennessee, he doesn't agree, but that might have been. But aren't you impressed with the poise of Albert Williams?
And he's been under pressure already. I was impressed when we interviewed him yesterday here at Scott Field. He looks like he's a junior or senior, not a freshman, the way he handles himself. First down 10 from the 48. Albert Williams from Jackson, Mississippi. Here's the pitch to Fair. Nice cutback. Extra effort. David Fair gets about 7. Cedric Klein with a stop for Tennessee.
And if he gets on the scales, I'd bet on 230. I mean, he is a solid-looking horse, that guy. And just a real nice kid, chewing sunflower seeds out of practice, just real laid back. And it's amazing when he gets the ball, his personality changes.
Second down 5 from the 47. Mississippi State inside Tennessee territory for only the second time. And the last time, Hank Phillips fumbled the ball for Tennessee 15. They go to the front man, that's Rodney Peters. Peters near the first down marker. He was tackled by Kelly Ziegler. So Mississippi State now getting this drive with some momentum.
watch Kelly Ziegler as Johnny Majors looks on from Palmetto High School. Steps up there, gets rid of the blocker, Durwood Minor, and grabs a hold of Rodney Peters, throws him to the prescription athletic turf.
The Bulldogs started this drive at their own 13, and they now have it at the Tennessee 42. Power eye backfield. It's first down. Phillips dives inside the 40 to about 38. Hank Phillips. 6 first downs already for the Bulldogs. They're capable of moving, apparently, against this Tennessee defense.
I think a real interesting story is Gary Frank, offensive tackle for Mississippi State. Last year we saw him against Tennessee and lost as a nose guard as players ran around him. And now he is back on offense. That's where he belongs. He weighs 300 pounds. If you're looking at him, though, he doesn't look like 300 pounds, but he is rock hard. And one of the leading shot putters in the country, and just an excellent, he's going to be an excellent pulling guard in the NFL.
2nd and 6. Williams couldn't find anybody. Kept looking over the left side, and I think Hadley may have broken a pattern, because Fred Hadley's talking to the sideline right now, but I don't know where I was supposed to be there, Coach.
Let's watch Gary Frank here. Sets up, hands out. It's his hands on Cooper. Cooper tries to grab him, but he's going nowhere. Tom Good talked about that, the offensive line coach for Mississippi State. He donated Frank to defense. They were having so much trouble last year. He thought he'd be a good team player and donate a great player to him, and he said, I'm never doing that again.
3rd down 9 from the 41. Bulldogs trailing Tennessee 7-0. We have 1:07 to go in the first quarter. Here comes the blitz. Williams gets rid of it. First down to Hadley. Nice move. Hadley drives to the 27-yard line. Bulldogs keep the drive alive. With 57 seconds to go in the first quarter, a 13-yard connection after good Ziegler pressure on the quarterback.
Williams yelled out to the receivers, I'm sure automatic. This is a blitz route. Run the slot man a little out pattern, and there's Hadley. We said he wasn't as good a runner as some of these other people, but way to prove me wrong, Freddie.
Bulldogs threatening inside the 30. First down 10. Tennessee leading by 7-0. Closing moments of the first quarter. And off to number 21, Rodney Peters. He gets about 6 yards.
See, there's talk about a new quarterback. There's talk about flashy wide receivers, good running backs. If you look at the different areas of a football team, and I had to pick one that was the most important, you go back to the offensive line every time. If you've got a good offensive line, there are enough skilled people that can fill in those other slots usually.
2nd down 4 from the 22, possibly the last play of the first quarter. John Moore split wide off your screen. They did not get the snap away, and that'll end the first quarter. When we come back, it'll be 2nd down 4. They take the long walk all the way to the other end of the field. Tennessee leads after 1 by a score of 7-0.
I remember my father's favorite chair. He'd come home, stretch out, and nap through all his favorite TV shows. That chair was home to him. When you take a seat on a Delta Jet, I want you to feel like you're coming home. Sounds corny, I know, but I love what I do. And I don't get paid extra to smile. It just feels comfortable to me. Kind of like my father's chair.
Delta gets you there. We get you there with care.
Just sign here, ma'am.
But this is more than what your sign said.
Well, sure, you're using a credit card instead of cash.
Excuse me.
If your service station charges a higher price for credit cards than cash, take your business elsewhere. Take your business to Gulf, the people who don't charge you more for credit cards.
Come again.
Gulf, one low price, cash or credit.
Along with Tim Foley, this is Bob Neal at Scott Field in Starkville, Mississippi. It is 79 degrees at kickoff. It's supposed to be up about 85 today. The humidity's about 180, 190, I think. They're the first quarter stats. They have umbrellas out in the stands here, and the umbrellas are for the humidity that's falling. The sky's actually clear. Mississippi State with an edge in the rushing. Tennessee with the edge in the passing department. It's a 34-yard Francis DeKalb touchdown pass for Tennessee's and the game's only score. Opening play of the second quarter. It is 2nd down and 4. Hand off to the front man. That's Rodney Peters. Not much going this time.
Peters, the ball carrier.
To about the 19. Now they're going to spot it at the 20.
One of the things the 2 tight ends does for Mississippi State, Johnny Majors is trying to, Rocky Felter is trying to get their little cornerbacks, Tennessee's little cornerbacks, involved in containment. And so what they do is they'll put a tight end, which will be nose-to-nose with Mike Kelly, who's used to playing the open side end more often than not. And then either Terry McDaniels or Tony Nelson or Victor Peppers has to get involved in support.
3rd and 2. Big play for the Bulldogs. They trail 7-0. Here's the option. Williams pulls it out. Oh, he waited forever and dives forward. It's going to be a first down penalty marker after the play here on the near sideline. He allowed the tackle to get in progress before Williams pulled that ball out of the belly of Rodney Peters. Personal foul, Tennessee. They'll tack it on to the end of the run.
Well, Rodney Peters is leading the blocking here, and let's see if we can see it. And again, Bob, you talked about it. Patience, patience. Let that defense suck in. Okay, now let go of it. David, let me take that ball, and runs upfield and out of the picture to your right. Rodney Peters and Victor Peppers got into a little physical discussion.
Now they're trying to decide just where this foul happened and whether it was a dead ball foul and just how far to penalize. Rom Gilbert's the man who has to have the discussion down there. By the way, Gordon Pettis, the supervisor of officials for the SEC, is in the press box today. Stopped in Birmingham to chat with him about all these rules, and oh, there are so many, and they can get so complicated. He said sometimes they're even complicated to him, and the only one who really understands it at the time of a call is the official down on the field. They're working with us. Speaking of the rules, I know there's always controversy over calls. There it is, dead ball, personal foul. And the discussion was about whether it was Tennessee or the Bulldogs. Rocky Felker says, hold on.
Yeah, really, it's not hard to tell the difference between maroon and white now. What's the story?
They're thinking Rodney Peters might have had something to do with it. Let's watch him. He's number 21, and he's the man who had the ball that was pulled out of his gut there by the quarterback.
I think they faked a fair. Now watch Peters. He's number 21 on the top of your screen, rolling around there. He's set for the pitch out. Williams takes it upfield, and now Peppers comes and gives Peters a shot, and I'm sure after that, Rodney must have gone and retaliated. How do you say that?
You said it right. 1st and 22 from the 32. David Fair. Back inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. In the backfield for the Bulldogs, 44 Fair and 21 Peters. And Fair has now 4 carries for 11 yards.
Frank is slow getting up, Bob.
Let's see what the problem is with Gary Frank. He looks like his left leg and or ankle. Remember, he weighs 300 pounds. When you say put your weight on your foot, young man, you're talking a lot of weight there. So let's hope he's okay. Frank is from Omro, Wisconsin. Considered going to the University of Wisconsin, came to Mississippi State because the folks here at State said, we would like to have you participate in football and track and field. And of course, he is one of the nation's finest shot putters.
Let's see it again. Ooh, man, that's it. Tennessee player rolled up on his, David Johnson looked like he rolled up on the back of his knee. And in situations like that, you only hope that the young man's cleats aren't in the ground, because if they are, then that's going to be a problem.
Well, let's hope he's okay. Walking relatively easily, trying to jog a little bit going to the sideline. Heaven knows the Bulldogs need him on the offensive line.
And there's his second dad there, Tom Good. Tom Good played for the Dolphins, the original Dolphins, and he was just a... You get some good Tom Good stories we'll tell as the game goes on.
2nd down 21 from the 28-yard line for the Bulldogs. That personal foul call against Rodney Peters has really hurt him. Peters, quick opener, closed more quickly. Let's have a look at some scores around the nation today. Georgia leading Oregon State 7-0. Oregon State said their biggest worry in that game was the Georgia Heat. Vince Dooley said, I think you should worry about our team. Clemson leading 3-0 in the first over Virginia Tech. Boston College with an early lead over Temple. We'll keep you posted on all the scores all day. Maryland, Virginia knotted at 7. Georgia Tech in their season opener at home against the Citadel, 1AA school. 3rd and 20 from the 27 Bulldogs. Williams couldn't stay on his feet. Got a yard or so. Working on the left leg of Gary Frank on the sideline, the strong side tackle for Mississippi State. Going to be a field goal opportunity here for the freshman Joel Logan.
16 with Bulldogs. Number 1 Logan.
They'll spot the ball at the 32. It's a 42-yard attempt. It is no good. Wide to the right side. The Bulldogs basically really hurt themselves with the dead ball personal foul against Rodney Peters. They had it down there deep in Tennessee territory and never could get it going again. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System.
#1 and St. Mary's Medical Center, caring for you.
Had possession of the football from the end of the first quarter into the second quarter here for 9 minutes 57 seconds, 17 plays, and got nothing out of it. That's Reggie Cobb driving it up the middle near the 30. Let's go to our studios in Atlanta for this college football update.
Ohio State at it again. Quarterback Tom Tupa looking for Everett Ross. West Virginia's turned the ball over 4 times. A great catch in the end zone. 17-0 Ohio State, second quarter. Back to Bob Neal and Tim Foley.
Trying to make him forget Chris Carter, I guess. Reggie Cobb driving near the first down. He was tackled by Jeremiah Sangster, the left inside linebacker. Cobb has 25 yards and 5 carries thus far today.
Jeff Francis last year 7th in the nation in terms of passing efficiency. Really developed as a bright young quarterback and finished strong as the most valuable player in a postseason bowl. And hasn't been quite as sharp early in the year.
3rd down 1. Howard. He's a truckload. Had 134 yards against Mississippi State last week. Howard takes his 240 pounds across the line to gain and gets the first down.
The power runner. Good block in there by Wilson. Pow. Knocks it through there, and you're watching William Howard, who led the SEC in scoring last year and had a great game last year against Mississippi State. If they would have stayed with Howard last year against the Bulldogs, I think Tennessee would have walked out of that game with a victory.
184 yards last year. 3 touchdowns. Francis stumbles but has time going long. Looking for number 4, Cleveland. Broken up beautifully by 34. That's Milton Smith, the little 5'9" cornerback. Terrence Cleveland, though, is the little guy. In that picture, he's only 5'8".
Most defensive backs get in trouble at the end of a play because they don't do a good job locating the ball. This is picture perfect. He locates the receiver, turns, locates the ball, and gets up high into the air. Watch him now. He's got the receiver, knows where the receiver is. Now he's trying to locate the pigskin. Sets, leaps into the air. That's a good little athlete, Milton, and he'll hit you.
2nd down 10 from the 36. Good job picking up the blitz, but everybody was blitzing. No gain on the play. They'll mark it down, and Howard at the 45-yard line. First guy back there was Leonard Hooker. Second was Anthony Butts. You saw the Tennessee back shift and pick up that blitz, but there were too many coming.
Here's Hooker, and it's something that Mississippi State's doing that's a little bit different. They're blitzing the inside linebackers. This wasn't an all-out blitz, just the inside linebacker, and he certainly disrupted the timing of the football play and created some confusion in Tennessee backfield.
It was Nate Middlebrooks, the tight end, who was lined up in the backfield and tried to stop that blitz to no avail. 3rd down 11 now. Francis. Complete first down. 47-yard line of Mississippi State to Alvin Harper. 17-yard gain for Tennessee and a very big third down conversion.
Let's see it again. No pressure on Francis here. Does a nice job of reading it. A basic 3 deep zone. Looks for a split end. He bends it inside that linebacker and pow. Nice job. Linebackers in that situation, they need to get back to. They need to sink a little bit deeper. Sangster needs to get wider on that play.
Slot right formation for the Volunteers. They lead 7-0. They fake it to Cobb. Everybody bought it. Francis throws on the run. Incomplete. Short hopped it down there to 5. T.D. Woods at about the 35-yard line. Incomplete.
The flag down. Might have a lineman downfield.
Defending for Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Flag on the flag.
9 minutes, 7 seconds to go. Second quarter. Tennessee leads 7-0. Eligible receiver.
Eligible receiver downfield. Offense. Down remains the first.
Walt Harris, the offensive coordinator, up here in the booth next to us, calling the plays. Probably got more balance than he's had in the last several years. Got the ability to run the football, a good, strong offensive line, a reliable quarterback, people that can fly. Tough offense to defense, Bob.
Excuse me, Harper and McGuire are the receivers for Tennessee. Screen it to Cobb. Oh, that had trouble all over it, and he broke the tackle. Cobb back to the 48-yard line. That ball just floated out there. There could be goal lines and headlines for one of these Bulldog players if that ball gets knocked loose.
I would say that Tennessee is the best screen passing team there is in the country. They do it better than anyone. They get their linemen out front. Linemen make effective blocks. Look at that. People on the ground. Excellent effort by Cobb. There's Walt Harris right there. There's a defensive back at the unit. Well, we'll talk about him in a minute.
2nd and 10 from the 48-yard line. Tennessee. Nathan Middlebrooks, the tight end, lined up in the backfield. 4-man rush. Great protection. Incomplete, right in and out of the hands of Alvin Harper. Oh, he was so open down at the 31-yard line. That's 2 dropped balls so far in this ball game.
See if we can see Walt Harris again. Walt spent 3 years as a coach at the University of Pacific as a defensive back. That's what he played in college. Went to Michigan State. Then he coached the quarterbacks at Illinois with Dave Wilson and Tony Eason. Coach Tony Robinson.
3rd down 10. Big defensive play here for Mississippi State. It is complete this time to the 34-yard line. Tennessee first down, and Alvin Harper caught it. Looks like they went maybe to the same kind of play. 14-yard gain. Tennessee keeps the drive alive. They lead 7-0. 8 minutes to go in the first half.
And that should bring a smile to Walt's face. This time again, a 3 deep zone. Looks to the weak side of that zone, to the end, circling in. You see number 58, Darren Martin. Darren Martin, in those situations, you have to recognize how deep you got to get. You got to get back farther, Darren.
1st and 10, down to the 25. Penalty marker goes down as Charles Wilson. I believe I saw a penalty marker. Check that. 9-yard gain. 7:31 to go in the second quarter. No penalty marker. Tennessee will have 2nd down short yardage.
You know, the reason that the patterns have backs in the flat, tight ends in the flat, is to suck up a linebacker, try to bait the linebacker to create room behind him. That's what's happening to Mississippi State's defense right now.
First down, Tennessee. Charles Wilson with the carry. Tennessee started this drive at their 25-yard line after Mississippi State had possession of the ball for nearly 10 minutes and 17 plays and then missed on a 42-yard field goal attempt, and Tennessee took it over at the 25. Now Tennessee threatening on a 1st and 10 from the 21 of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Cobb. Short of the first down, but did you see how quickly he got through the narrow hole over on the left side?
And Nate Middlebrook did a beautiful job. Watch the tight end. The right of your screen. He's locked up on the linebacker from Mississippi State. Just coming into your picture right now. Locked up on James Williams. that enables the play to turn the corner. McCullough tried to close it, but there was too big a gap there. Good job, Nate.
Second down 3 from the 14. Tennessee leading 7-0. 6:20 to go in the first half. Volunteers inside the 15-yard line of the Bulldogs. Wilson and Cobb in the backfield for Tennessee. There's Francis with a checkoff. Cobb hit at the line of scrimmage. Oh, he's hard to bring down. They'll spot it right at the line, so it'll be 3rd down 3 now. Big play for Tennessee here. Johnny Majors getting some communication with Walt Harris and deciding what will work on a 3rd and 3 at the 14 of the Bulldogs.
This situation last year, they tried to run a fade into the corner.
T.D. Wood splits wide to the left side. Cleveland McGuire to the right side. 3 wideouts in there for Tennessee. Here's Francis with the check. Batted out of the air. 38, James Williams. That's the second time he's knocked down the quick toss. And Tennessee's going to have to attempt a field goal here. Phil Rich will come in. James Williams is only 6'1". He's no 6'9" basketball player over there. He's just a 6'1" linebacker.
And he's playing for Cedric Course, who was injured last week and who has been their most consistent player on defense. But Williams and Martin and Course rotate in there. But they won the bluff that time with Jeff Francis. They bluffed Jeff into thinking it was a blitz.
Phil Rich, the junior from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, gets it through the uprights. There is a penalty marker down. Call is going to go against Mississippi State. They may have bumped into the kicker or the holder. And Eddie Miles with a good rush on that kick may have bumped into somebody. If that is the call,
you want to take the field?
Tennessee will have an opportunity now to take the field goal and the points or the penalty, which would give them a 1st down. That's the discussion that's going on down there. Jeff Francis talks to Rom Gilbert. That's Rom Gilbert, the referee. And talking to him now is William Howard Francis over on the sideline talking to the coach. And Tennessee is going to take the points off the board and take the call and the ball, hoping for a touchdown. A lot of people will debate whether you ever take any points off the board, Jim.
Well, that's the old golden rule. You know, once you got them up there, leave them up there.
You don't make a withdrawal once you've made the deposit.
That's right. So, but Johnny feels confident, I'm sure, that they can get into the end zone for 7.
Running in the kicker. Defense. 5-yard distance gives them a 1st down.
See if it's 12, Eddie Miles. Randy Sanders holding. Good call.
You know what I think.
You think he's barely bumped him?
Like, go ahead and let that kicker get dirty. He isn't going to hurt him.
Well, it wasn't a roughing the kicker.
No, and he
running into, but it is a 1st down call, and they spot the ball at the 9. 1st and goal, Tennessee. They lead 7-0. 5:17 to go in the first half. Nothing happening on the 1st down. Carry by Reggie Cobb, stopped at the line of scrimmage.
And this is when you find out about your defense. You create the character of a defense in difficult situations. Just like last year, Tennessee had all those starters coming back. They had been exceptional the year before, but injuries, of course, affected their output. That the chemistry just didn't happen. The plays like Terry McDaniel made early in the game weren't just happening for him last year.
2nd down. And goal from the 10. Tennessee had a player encroach, Nate Middlebrooks. He jumped all the way across the line, made contact, and if it's accepted, that'll move him back 5 yards. And I know they don't like it, but Tim, what about, as you look at this again, what about the possibility of this actually giving Tennessee a little bit more room to operate down there?
Well, I'm sure that this wasn't intentional, and I think they've got all the room they need to operate. They've got 5'9" Milton Smith out there, and pretty soon you're going to see Harper go that way.
2nd down 15 from the 15. 2nd and goal from the 15, actually. Francis sees that movement, checking it off. Reggie Cobb hit in the backfield and down at the 15. Oh, is Johnny Majors saying, should I have made a withdrawal after the deposit of 3 points? We'll know after this 3rd down. I guess Johnny, who does have a lot of faith in his kicker, Phil Rich, figures if they don't turn it over, the worst that can happen is Phil Rich will have an opportunity to kick it again. I guess that's one way to look at it.
Exactly. But Johnny was also on the sideline in New York and watched what his defense did to Iowa. They got the ball on the 1-yard line. Turned out to be a 14-point spread.
Riverboat gambler Johnny Majors. Third down, goal from the 15. All kinds of signals down there. And Francis said, timeout. Penalty markers down. We'll be back to explain it in a moment. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. Oak decided they did not want the time. Oak decided they did not want the timeout, but in the meantime, in the confusion, the 25-second clock, it ran down to 0. The penalty marker was for delay of game, so Tennessee gets penalized back outside the 20, where it is now third down and goal from the 20. This is the 17th play of the Tennessee drive. The Bulldogs earlier in the late first and early second had a 17-play drive that got them nothing. Tennessee had a field goal, took it off the board after a penalty of running into the kicker, and now it's third and goal from the 20. Incomplete. Tennessee does not convert. Middlebrooks, the intended receiver. The defender was 33, Bernard McCullough, and Phil Rich comes in now for a longer field goal attempt.
McCullough could be in the secondary for Tennessee. They've got all those track men, and McCullough anchors a 400-meter relay here at Mississippi State. Of course, Jeff thinks there's pass interference.
It'll be a 37-yard field goal attempt by Phil Rich. They took 3 off the board earlier. Can he put them back in the bank? Now that's confidence. Johnny Major said, we'll try to get the touchdown. If we don't, Phil will kick it through again for us, won't you, young man? He said, yes, sir. Tennessee leads 10-0 with 3:10 to go in the first half.
It was so simple. Really, a direct electrical charge here heats up the carbonized filament here, which in turn excites the gases trapped in here, and voila!
Well, it's very nice, Thomas, but I wanted a Bud Light.
If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it.
Don't feel bad, Thomas. It's not a complete loss.
Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
Here's to the winners, those who move mountains. Here's to the miracles they make us see.
Holiday Inn salutes the people with faith enough to try and patience enough to smile. To all the people who still believe in dreams and in themselves.
Here's to the winners, all of us can be.
Holiday Inn welcomes and reminds you, if you're a winner, we're on your way.
This portion of SEC football is brought to you by Bud Light, the light beer with a first name and taste. Everything else is just a light. So Tennessee leads 10-0 on the Phil Rich field goal, and there you see illegal contraband. The SEC banned those bells from this place, and that lady, tell her goodbye. She'll be out of here. Goodbye. That's not quite that strict. You hear the cowbells. They were very noisy down there. They can really affect it. Back in '75, the cowbells were so loud that the Mississippi State people say Shug Jordan, the late Shug Jordan of Auburn, went to the conference meetings in the spring after '75 to the '74 season and said, hey, those cowbells are unfair. So the conference banned them on only conference games. So they bring them out when they play somebody like Southwestern Louisiana. Otherwise, it's you got to sneak those things in here. The kickoff. Tennessee leading 10-0. Penalty marker is down at the kickoff. Moore at the 7. Moore to the 42-yard line. He was tripped up by Chris Treese, but John Moore took it all the way to the 47. It was a 52, make it the 42, a 52-yard return. Moore's the junior from Philadelphia, Mississippi. It looked as though the penalty marker would be against Tennessee for being offside. It was thrown at the Tennessee kickoff line.
Well, this team is playing with a new attitude and new inspiration, looks like to me.
Wait a minute. You see what Tennessee was signaling? Maybe it's the Bulldogs. Ron Gilbert will tell us.
Offside!
See any cowbells in that picture? No, sir. Those are law-abiding students there. Well, they call it against Mississippi State, so that nullifies a tremendous kickoff return by John Moore.
The only time I used to see the receiving team offsides on a kickoff, Bob, is like when you'd play the Bears back in the old days, and Dick Butkus used to be on the kickoff return team, and they'd send him after the foreign guy. You know, they'd send him after the kicker, and then Butkus would just chase him down. You know, as soon as the guy would kick it off, they'd start running the other way. Butkus was hot on his trail, you know.
There's the scoring drive. Tennessee took 17 plays, 55 yards, and 2 opportunities for the field goal. They kicked one, and Bulldogs ran into the kicker. Tennessee got the ball again, tried to score, but had all kinds of problems and marched backwards instead of forward, and then went ahead and got the field goal. And there's John Moore still breathing hard after his 52-yard kickoff return. Now Tennessee moves it up 5 yards to the 40. Borgononi should put it in the end zone here. He's got a strong leg, and does. So how big a play was that? Well, it cost about at least 60 yards from where it was to make it 40 yards from where it'll be placed now at the 20 on the touchback. And Mississippi State trailing by a score of 10-0. We'll have 3 minutes left in this half. Be sure and join us next week when TBS Sports presents SEC football from Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be at Legion Field. The Florida Gators will take on Bill Curry's Crimson Tide. Crimson Tide playing at Penn State tonight. Florida Gators at home against Tulsa. That'll be 12:30 Eastern Time. College football grandstand beginning at 12:15, 11:15 Central. Join us next Saturday. Albert Williams on the option. Toss to Fair. Needs a block. Didn't get it. Goes down at the 25. Tennessee's defense. The pursuit is so excellent for these Volunteers. It was pretty well blocked by Mississippi State.
It was an excellent play. Instead of the option on the down lineman, that was the option on the linebacker, and the contained man also had to take the pitch. And if Fair could have turned it up and got some fire behind him early, he might have gone a long way there.
Got 5 on it, 2:30 to go, first half. Tennessee leads 10-0. Second down 5 from the 25. Hand off to the front man in the backfield. That's Marcus Bush, number 22. Not much.
Had an opportunity to talk to Tennessee's defensive coordinator and longtime legend in terms of defense, Ken Donahue, and discussing last year, talking about this young quarterback, Albert Williams. And one of the things he says is, gee, you know, I don't know if he can throw, but I kind of hope he can't throw as well as Don Smith. And in talking about the way they pressured him last year on defense.
Penalty markers down. The ball carrier is down at the line of scrimmage. Cooper with the tackle. That was David Fair who had the ball. 3 penalty markers.
So whenever you blitz an offense, you're applying pressure and you're trying to create confusion. You're trying to take advantage of certain situations. You're trying to create an unblocked man. But you're also giving up defense in depth. And so what you can do is get hit big. And for example, the largest pass completions against Tennessee this year have been on the blitz.
So Tommy Parks, the sophomore from Houston, Mississippi, comes into punt. He had only a 29-yarder last time. Number 1, Andre Kramer will receive. Almost blocked. Got a real beauty. Penalty markers down at the line of scrimmage. Kramer takes it at his 21. Out to the 27. Good punt coverage by the Bulldogs. That was Tony Burke's first man down, but there's a penalty marker back at the line of scrimmage. There have been a host of penalties. There have been 11 accepted in this game. Several declined. About 15 penalties have been called here in the first half. Personal foul against Tennessee. It was a 52-yard punt. This is something officials have been watching. I think that there was a penalty against the Tennessee defender
hitting the punt snapper. They're really trying to protect the man who's snapping for the punt this year because he's in such a vulnerable position.
The ball at the 41-yard line. First down, Mississippi State.
Grabbing his face mask there. Definitely a vulnerable position, and you get assaulted when you snap on punts, and I'm not sure how they protect you.
They move it out to the 41. New life for the Bulldogs. First down 10. Williams down the side. Oh, my. Jeff Patton was really vulnerable as the pass was thrown high. He had to go up and really paid for it. Terry McDaniel got him in the solar plexus.
Now, this is not how to win friends and influence people. If it's good effort by Patton, the ball overthrown, and Tennessee displaying a tenacity and, I mean, trying to defend against those particular patterns, but Mississippi State is really showing spirit and a competitive edge that we didn't see late in the year.
Second down, 10 Bulldogs. It is complete to the 40-yard line to number 83, Darrell Kennebrew. First down, Bulldogs, 1:09 to go in the half. Mississippi State with 2 timeouts remaining in case they need them.
Good protection here. Number 50, Tommy Good, 76, Sturwood Minor. And he just drills it down in there between the linebackers.
On the first down, Peters to the 31-yard line. Number 21, Rodney Peters, clocked down to 53 and counting.
And Kelly Ziegler just got a shoelace on him, or Peters is heading for Pater.
Clock to 43 and counting. Mississippi State does have 2 timeouts remaining. Here comes Hank Phillips. He gets out of bounds to stop the clock with 29 seconds remaining in the half. Near the first down marker.
One of the things that you have to be considering if you're calling plays for the Bulldogs is the blitz. You're always thinking about the blitz. You're thinking about protecting the blitz, and you're thinking about what do we have that works on the ground or in the air that could pop it. And in this area of the field, if a good run can score just as easily as a pass, because you've got to be anticipating a blitz, especially against Tennessee. Although we've seen a different style of defense from Donahue this afternoon, in the sense that there haven't been nearly as many blitzes as there were last year. And I think that that's a pattern that's beginning to develop now. We saw the same thing against Iowa.
Just about an inch to go for the first down here at the 28-yard line for the Bulldogs. Williams is going to keep it and get the first down. Clock ticks, and they'll probably try to call a very fast timeout here. Well, they won't need it because of the first down. That'll stop the clock at 25 seconds. And Bulldog coaches trying to figure out what's going on.
Checking it out, I can't really see who that is. You know, I know Ronnie Gray is up there, and Steve Logan is up there.
Yeah, with the towel around his neck, maybe it's John Thompson, the Georgetown basketball coach. The only guy I know wears the towel. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System.
American Clothing presents the perfect business suit, handcrafted right here in Knoxville of the finest English wools, completely lined with 3 inside pockets, and quality that comes from making suits for almost a century sewn into each and every one. These suits would cost from $250 to $300 at any other store in the world. At American Clothing, you can buy them for only $179. And this fall, you get your very own personalized label sewn into every suit you buy. $250 suits for $179. And your personalized label only at American Clothing.
1.9 factory financing on brand new Twin City Buicks. Factory cash rebates to $1,000. Blockbuster discounts to $4,000. Here at Twin City, we're out to clean the slate for 88, so hundreds of new 87 Buicks must be delivered now. Get factory financing as low as 1.9 or factory cash rebates to $1,000. And you'll get a Blockbuster Twin City discount, too. Save up to thousands on your brand new Twin City Buick, where we always outsell the competition because we really do sell for less.
Here's the situation. 25 seconds left in the half. Tennessee leads 10-0. First and 10 Bulldogs from the 26-yard line.
think you got to try to get somebody into the end zone and then run somebody across, run a crossing pattern. So you get a good chance of getting open across the field against a blitz.
Tennessee with 4-man rush. Almost picked off down at the 12-yard line. Intended for Hadley. Ziegler with the hit.
We're going to get to see Fred Hadley working here. It's a 3 deep zone, 4 short zones. They're trying to get it in behind Ziegler. Look at Ziegler. Look at that patience. He doesn't bite on that short man. Drops to the curl. Almost makes the interception. Hadley had a chance to make that catch as the ball slid through Ziegler's hands.
Ziegler tried to tip the ball. Kramer with the stop on 2nd down 10. 17 seconds to go in the half. They tried to get it to 83 Kenny Brew. He was well covered. Clock down to 13.
Very uncharacteristic from Donahue, and I'm sure that's what has Rocky Felker's brow wrinkled. A 3 deep zone in this area is not what you're used to seeing from Tennessee. You used to see him play him half field, or they're going to come and get you with pressure.
Well, that's what Rocky said, though. He said the difficulty against Ken Donahue is as soon as you think he'll do something, he does something else. And that's exactly what's happening today. It's 3rd and 10 from the 26. 13 seconds to go in the half. State trailing by 10. Kenny Brew lined up on the wrong side. They switch him all the way over. On the 3rd down. Again, Tennessee covered. It's picked off. It was overthrown. Man with the ball, Kelly Ziegler. Ziegler out to the 28-yard line. The clock is down to 3 seconds remaining in the half. Albert Williams just did not make a good pass that time. Right into the waiting arms of Ziegler. We'll be right back.
Only you.
Just because you've washed your car doesn't mean you're finished. After each wash, you need some Armor All on the dash, the bumper, and especially the tires. Armor All, it's the finishing touch every time you wash your car.
You're my dream.
And now, get new Clean Start free when you buy Armor All Protectant. Clean Start, only from Armor All products.
The Great American Face. Rugged, distinctive. The Great American Razor. Atra. Solid. Pivots for closeness. The Great American Face deserves the Great American Shave. Atra. Only from Gillette.
Okay, last time. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Well, this has been the story of the Tennessee defense. This has been the story of the Tennessee defense this year. Coming up with the big play under pressure. When they're backed up, somebody steps up to the plate and takes a swing. And here it is, their leader, Kelly Ziegler.
And they'll just run the clock out. That's the end of the first half. Tennessee leading by a score of 10-0. Stay with us. We'll have all our halftime activities. We'll be giving you scores from all the college games around the nation. Hello.
When you enter the world of reading,
Tennessee will receive to begin this half of SEC football 1987. Tennessee leading by a score of 10-0. They'd won the coin toss and delayed their option till the second half, so Tennessee will be receiving. Scott Field, Starkville, Mississippi. It's about 85 degrees. The deep back for Tennessee is number 34, Reggie Cobb, back to take the kickoff for the University of Tennessee Volunteers. Crowd of about 35,000 here at Starkville. The stadium seats 41,000. Very unusual to have a daytime game here. Actually started in the morning, Central Time. Bulldogs, the last several years, have been playing most of their games at night. But an enthusiastic crowd at Mississippi State University. Starkville, by the way, a real growing research and development community. A lot of major research and development firms moving into this area. So it's a very fast-growing area, the Golden Triangle of, I guess you'd call it, western central Mississippi. Now time for the Alka-Seltzer statistics at halftime, and let's take a look at the story of this ball game. Mostly it's been flag football. We've seen so many penalty markers, more markers than those accepted, 11. About 15 penalties have been called, and as you see, Mississippi State with more total yards and more time of possession, no points.
Tennessee has been conservative in defense in terms of their calls. Of course, they're playing aggressive defense, but they're not going after them with the blitz. They're trying to eliminate the big play. They got hurt very badly last year on the big play, and they're going to make the ball down the field, which they have done twice very effectively.
There's the kickoff coming down to Reggie Cobb at his 6-yard line. The freshman. Out to the 27, and down he goes. He was tripped up by number 5, Tony Burks, a return of 21 yards. And Jeff Francis comes back out here to lead the Volunteers. Francis, 7 of 13 for 109 yards and 1 touchdown. And Francis, we talked about Tennessee having some question marks about him, Tim. He played well in the first half.
He played well, but you know he's got a problem, and it's like Bob Greasy with the Dolphins. If he ever went 50% throwing the ball, people started booing. They expect more than that. He had such an exceptional year last year.
There's that outside screen to number 5, Thomas Woods. Tennessee loves to open up with that. They get about 9 or 10 on it this time. Normally, the man receiving that would be Anthony Miller, the speedster senior from California, who has a torn posterior cruciate ligament in his right knee. How close was that?
It's the one right here. You feel this right here now?
Yes.
That was great.
A war injury. Anthony Miller is out, they think, about 6 weeks, indefinitely. He had arthroscopic surgery. He is a great player. Here's Cobb. Speaking of great players, they expect a lot from him. They never did get him down on that. He got the first down on the run, out of bounds at the 40-yard line.
And Tennessee has these big linemen in Galbraith and Kirk, and Simons is 270 still, who's filling in for Phil Stewart. He's 270, but they're awfully mobile, and they really get out there on that quick screen to the flanker and set up almost a wedge. It looks like a kickoff return, and if the defensive back doesn't get into it in a hurry, you got a big problem.
Opening moments, second half from Starkville, Mississippi. Tennessee leading 10-0. Francis with the play fake all day to throw on the run. Wide open, number 4, Terrence Cleveland to the 26-yard line. They got everybody moving left, and Francis rolled right and hit Terrence Cleveland. He was tackled by 46 Russell and 34 Milton Smith.
Little play action fake. They run Milton Smith out deep. Terrence Cleveland ran to the flat and then turned up the sideline and fell in that open area. Smith, seeing the ball thrown, reacted back to it. But actually, Michael Taylor should be getting more depth. He should be turning and running with that second man through his zone. He lets him go and created an open man.
34-yard pass completion. William Howard gets a few off the left side. The fullback down to about the 22-yard line goes William Howard. Tennessee's rushing yardage in the first half, only 51 yards. Tennessee passed for 109. Mississippi State moved the ball up and down, but thanks to mistakes and probably inexperience would be my main guess, Mississippi State unable to score. It is second down 6. Reggie Cobb. Oh, he's a great runner. Touchdown, Tennessee. Three-yard touchdown run by Reggie Cobb. He caught a touchdown pass of 39 yards in the first quarter, and now he runs it in.
The good eye running back is always looking for the cutback. Get everybody going this way now. Create a seam. Todd Kirk did that. Led through by the fullback. Kevin Simons gets a good block, and Cobb takes it all away.
Point after is good, and Tennessee leads 17-0 with 13:16 remaining in the third quarter from Starkville, Mississippi.
Lafitte, Louisiana and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Lafitte means flat-bottom boat racing and a Cajun feast that'll set your mouth on fire. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer, cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
There's nothing like the flavor of a special place, an Old Milwaukee beer.
Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light.
It doesn't get any better than this.
How do other Japanese imports see the 1988 Dodge Ram 50? To Toyota, Ram 50's roomier standard cab looks like this. To Mazda, Ram 50's more powerful standard engine looks like this. And to Nissan, Ram 50's bigger standard payload looks like this. So if you're looking for more than you bargained for, you'll find it at your Dodge dealer, along with the roomy new Ram 50 Sports Cab.
Dodge Import Trucks, we're going places.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by Dodge Import Trucks and the new Dodge Ram 50. We're going places. Tennessee leading 17-0 on the Reggie Cobb 23-yard touchdown run. We'll show that to you again in a minute. Some great blocking and a beautiful cut by Cobb. Moore from the 11 for the Bulldogs. John Moore, an exciting kickoff returner out to the 35-yard line.
Let's see that run again by Reggie Cobb. And this is the way a running back likes to see it develop. There's All-American Harry Galbraith there. Nate Middlebrook, number 3. See him locked on James Williams? He creates that hole. Now, Cobb's looking back to the inside. Roland Poles leads him back, always looking against the grain. Look back to your right. You're going to see Bo Russell come up here and miss right there, and that's what did it. Broke it clean. Good job of running and blocking by Tennessee.
First and 10, State from the 35-yard line. Slot right formation. Albert Williams was just going to keep it. Oh, hello. Albert Williams down to the 33-yard line. Reggie Cobb, number 34. Remember the freshman who had such a great debut from Georgia in 1980. Reggie Cobb was in the stands at Neyland Stadium in Tennessee, a high school player at the time. That next season, he asked to wear number 34. Said he always wanted to go to UT in his hometown, and now he's off to a beautiful start, an exciting start for the freshman, redshirt freshman, tailback Reggie Cobb. 2 touchdowns today. Second down, 11, Bulldogs. Flags are down. Looked like some movement on the left side of the line. They've got some problems with the left side tackle position. They actually call it the quick tackle position.
Dead ball fall. Ball start.
Kevin Engelhardt is playing over there, number 73. But Tony Robertson, a freshman, plays quite a bit over there also. See if that's what it is.
Yeah, watch the left tackle. Tried to beat the count a little bit early. They get concerned about getting back off the ball. Of course, Rocky knows those are the things that you have to eliminate if you're going to build consistent drives like they had in the second quarter.
8 penalties against the Bulldogs thus far today. Second down, 16 now. Tennessee with a 4-man rush. Phillips to the 30 and down. Hit by number 6, Tony Nelson, the junior free safety. Phillips had a 61-yard run in the first half. He was hit at the 15-yard line. Looked like he was headed for a touchdown. Fumbled the ball, and it's been Tennessee since then. They lead 17-0. Johnny Majors, what a great coaching job he did last year. Tennessee off to a horrible start. 1986, he came back and won the last 5 ball games, including a victory in the Liberty Bowl. They're going for victory number 8 in a row today are the Volunteers. 3rd and 15. Albert Williams has time. Wants to go long. Has a man. Hadley. Complete. And out of bounds at the 43-yard line of Tennessee. Hadley's second catch of the day. This one for 27 yards.
Little Z out pattern. You got Terry McDaniel chasing underneath, expecting deep help, but Hadley beats him to the outside. He should never really get outside position on Terry there, but just a beautiful throw. Most quarterbacks have to put more air under that ball, giving those speedy Tennessee defensive backs time to react, but that ball was thrown on the line.
Williams, 5 out of 11 for 69 yards, 1 interception in this game. Phillips driving inside the 40 to about the 38-yard line. Phillips was named the most valuable player for the Mississippi State Bulldogs in last week's victory over Southwestern Louisiana, even though the star quote of the game was Albert Williams. Rocky Felker and the coaches felt that Hank Phillips, number 29, gives them the leadership that they need at that tailback position, even though he's hearing the footsteps of David Fair back there at tailback. 2nd and 6 from the 39. Bulldogs trailing 17-0. Number 21 is Rodney Peters. Gets about 2 near the 35-yard line. Some pretty good running backs for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. If they avoid some injury offensively, they could get quite good by the end of the year. And for Mississippi State, they better. They have that November nightmare of a schedule when they get to the last 4 or 5 games.
So these running backs are going to be maturing along the way. Injuries, of course, play an important factor, but they're going to get better every game.
3rd and 2. close to the first down. I'm not sure they got it. Ball carrier Hank Phillips.
Phillips, the ball carrier.
Tom Good is over on the sideline there with the headsets on, and a familiar sight to Mississippi State people. Went to school here and
33-yard line.
played with the Dolphins, as I mentioned, and I got down there in 1970. He was injured, had 3 operations, and he figured he probably wouldn't play again, but the Dolphins made the playoffs, and they tried to bring him back through injured waivers, and he couldn't clear. Ended up, Baltimore picked him up, and he snapped. He was a snapper on a field goal that Jim O'Brien kicked as the Colts beat the Dallas Cowboys in that game. And Tom loves to coach, and he's done a great job with his offensive line here.
Yeah, they're going for it, Tim. 4th down, inches. Our eye. Albert Williams dives off right guard behind Good and Sims, and I think he got it. Mississippi State trailing 17-0 with 9:45 to go in the 3rd quarter. Needed it, got it. The drive stays alive. Johnny Majors, part of a very talented coaching staff at Mississippi State back in the early 60s. Paul Davis was the head coach. Johnny Majors actually came here in 60, where he was B-team coach and then moved to the secondary. Bill Dooley, who's at Wake Forest now, and Ken Donahue, the defense coordinator for Tennessee, also coached here. Only a yard or two, David Fair carrying Keith DeLong with a tackle. As we were talking to Johnny Majors, Tim, I got a kick out of him saying he had we said, why'd you leave Tennessee, where he was the freshman coach there after his great career playing in Tennessee? He says, well, I got a raise. I made $4,000 at Tennessee, $4,500 here at Mississippi State. I'd been married a year, and I needed the extra $500.
And it's interesting, too, he played his first collegiate game against Mississippi State. Wanted to be redshirted because they had an all-conference running back. It ended up running for 80 yards in his first game, ripped off an 80-yarder, made an interception. Things to come.
2nd down 8. Williams was tipped at the line. Falls incomplete. Good penetration by Tennessee's defense, coming right up the middle. I thought there was going to be more problems for Tennessee's front line. You know, Brian Hunt's out, Mark Hovanek's out, and I thought that Hobby and Whitehead and McCray and Cooper and Johnson and those fellows would have a lot more problem, and that Mississippi State could run the ball better than Mississippi State has today. Tennessee's front lines play pretty well.
Yeah, well, Mississippi State has been able to maintain possession of the ball for extended periods of time, and I think that's the reason. And remember that the front line held up pretty good against Iowa, which is a good football team.
Bush and Orlando Wade, a true freshman, in the backfield. He's number 31. Williams, a lot of time. Tucks it. Out of bounds at the 22. It's really close to the first down. DeLong with a stop. Let's see where they spot it. It's on the far side of the field from the marker, so Williams had to guess at the first down. He got it. A heads-up play by the freshman.
Once again, good protection by the Bulldog line. Look at those guys set. Pop. Miner working on the top there. Engelbrecht, good job by him all day, and he is expecting a 2-deep zone or a blitz. He gets a 3-deep zone again and scrambles out of there. Good athletic ability displayed there by Albert Williams.
He has double tight ends in there now. 1st down 10, just out inside the 22-yard line of the Volunteers. Fake on the pitch. Williams goes down hard, gain of 1. He was hit by DeLong, 33, and Miller, 45. Now, this has happened all day. Mississippi State, as you pointed out, Tim's been moving the ball up and down the field. They get down around the 30, 20-yard line, and Tennessee's defense is throwing them all kinds of funny looks. They can't get anything done. What about the Bulldogs here?
Well, I think what they've got to expect is what they've been seeing now. I think that you make adjustments at halftime, and Tennessee's got no reason to change what they've been doing.
It's 2nd down 9. Williams gives to Marcus Bush. Gets a couple and is leveled. The Tennessee player is down on the field at about the 21-yard line. It's Darren Miller. Tennessee trainer is going to go out and check on Miller. Tennessee's just been haunted by injuries. Hunt and Hovanek and Keith Davis and Miller and so many. We'll check on this one when we come back. You're watching SEC football of the Turner Broadcasting System.
Hold it!
got back from Westside Honda. Wanted to take a look at some used cars.
What a super lineup. 2-door, 4-door, imports, domestics, everything.
I didn't think he knows he was so busy kicking the tires.
At Westside Honda, you get a better used car deal because you get a better used car.
I went crazy and picked up a fancy red sports car.
So what are you going to do now, drive around like a wild Indian?
Wrong, like a Dallas Cowboy.
Hello, I'm Lynn Nipper, Chief Executive Officer of St. Mary's Health System. I'm at St. Mary's West Medical Services Center on Wise-Garber Road in West Knoxville. It'll be opening soon to bring St. Mary's medical care closer to you with physicians' offices, outpatient services, pharmacy, a home care equipment company, and other services, all designed to make health care more convenient than ever, even including free parking. St. Mary's West Medical Services Center, coming soon as another way St. Mary's is caring for you.
Left leg, and they'll check him out. We'll report back to you. Lars Tate has 3 touchdowns as Georgia leads big of Oregon State at halftime. Ohio State with no problem for West Virginia. And Clemson leading Virginia Tech in a tough ball game, 9-3. Pittsburgh over North Carolina State, second period. It is 3rd down, 6 at the 17. Bulldogs. 22 is Marcus Bush. He does not get the first down. Some more scores. Maryland, Virginia in a close one in the 3rd quarter in College Park. Oklahoma State leading Houston easily in the 2nd quarter. And Syracuse and Rutgers 10-0 at halftime. Georgia Tech having no problem playing a 1AA team, the Citadel, 24-6. Harvey Schiller, the Southeastern Conference Commissioner, is with us today, and he's kind of watching that score as he's a Citadel grad.
Georgia Tech's got an excellent coach there. They lost to Goodwin and Bill Curry, but Bobby Ross is one of the finest men in college football. He'll do a good job there.
Mississippi State finally gets on the board. A 31-yard field goal off the foot of true freshman Joel Logan from Hamilton, Alabama. Felker recruited him out of high school, gave him a scholarship. Rare for a kicker, and Mississippi State has scratched. There's Gary Frank. You're looking at some bad news there. And he's smiling through the pain. According to the sideline manager for Mississippi State University, Gary Frank has a broken bone in his left foot, his lower left leg. Gary Frank injured in the first. He's a pro prospect, NCAA champion in the shot put, 300-pounder, counted on to play a big role in the Mississippi State offensive line. Right prior to our timeout, they had helped Darren Miller of the University of Tennessee, their great outside linebacker, off the field, and we'll report on his injury. We do not know the status of the Miller injury yet. He had a leg injury also. Mississippi State's on the scoreboard, however, and trails 17-3. It is Reggie Cobb. Runner. Oh, he's exciting. You can see that he's just half a step from breaking it almost all the time. Tripped up by Wayne Banks. So here's how the scoring's gone in the ball game. In the first quarter, Tennessee, after an 85-yard drive, got a 39-yard touchdown pass to Reggie Cobb. In the second quarter, Tennessee put a field goal up on the board, got a penalty after running into the kicker, went back and took the field goal again when they couldn't score a touchdown. Then Reggie Cobb again, 23-yard TD run in the third quarter, and the field goal for Mississippi State, and that's the scoring in this ball game. 6:42 to go, third quarter. Francis. It's complete to the tight end Middlebrooks to the 46-yard line. Tackled by 28 Michael Taylor.
To see this is here's the look that Jeff Francis has now on the left side. Bo Russell is a safety that had kind of tucked up, faked the blitz, and did not get enough depth. As you see Middlebrooks coming all the way across the field and catching the ball in his area. But this is only Bo Russell's second game. Of course, he's going to gain more experience, and you learn painfully like that, because they'll run that one back a couple of times in the film room.
23-yard first down pass completion from the 46. Francis going to throw again. Some pressure. Screen. It's incomplete. Tried to throw it to Reggie Cobb. Not a great pass. A little tough to handle. Cobb should have caught it. He did not catch the ball much in high school. Backs as great as he is in high school, the only time they catch it's when they pitch it to him.
Right. I tell you what, man, the road was clear on that one. There was 3 blockers out in front of him, and he was gone. Jeff just didn't get it to him. threw a nice pass, had a nice pass, touching the ball to Middlebrook. And he's throwing the ball well.
3 wideouts in there for Tennessee on 2nd down 10 at the 46 of the Bulldogs. Volunteers lead 17-3. Francis sees the blitz look, checks off, and calls timeout with 1 second remaining on the delay of game clock. He knew that he was facing some problems here. We'll be right back. 6:09 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Tennessee leads 17-3. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. 2nd down 10. Tennessee from the 46 of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right side. Single setback. Francis faces a 4-man rush. Throws it long. Incomplete. Looking for Alvin Harper. In the corner of the end zone, covered by little Milton Smith. About 8-9 inches difference in height there, but Francis just couldn't connect. It'll bring up 3rd down 10.
Yeah, there you see a couple of Tennessee coaches. There's Doug Matthews. He's the vocal one right there. He led the SEC in rushing back in 1969, a Vanderbilt graduate. Kippy Brown, quarterback from Memphis. He's got the other headsets on, and he's the guy that's working with these wide receivers here at Tennessee, and he's the one that's been developing all those great ones.
Big defensive series here for the Bulldogs. 3rd down 10, Tennessee. Here comes a blitz. Quick dump over the middle. It's incomplete.
Tried to pop it out there to tight end John Rollins quickly when Francis saw the blitz coming. Bulldogs toughened up here after Tennessee penetrated Bulldog territory, and the defensive secondary for the Bulldogs were ready.
Just give them a 3 deep look. They're playing man-to-man underneath. It's blitz. Bo Russell sits there and knocks it down. I think that's the best way to handle a blitz offensively. Instead of, there are some plays that you have to get out of, but then there are some plays that can be automatics that you go to automatically.
Eddie Miles at the 14. And the little freshman gets it to the 20-yard line. And there, the Bulldogs, trailing 17-3, will put it on offense again. Mississippi State had a good recruiting class this year, according to Rocky Felker. Eddie Miles, one of these, although Eddie was actually a walk-on, and they really like him. Orlando Wade's a running back who's actually played in this game. And an actual scholarship went to Joel Logan. The guy he likes best is Reggie Stewart, a young linebacker.
And he played last week, had 7 tackles in the game and 3 on special teams. So he was the leading tackler here last week.
1st and 10 from the 20. Bulldogs trailing 17-3. Here comes David Fair. He finds a seam and runs hard about 7 or 8 yards. We've been talking about the freshman for Tennessee, Reggie Cobb. David Fair hasn't had a chance to do much yet. That's his 8th carry, has only 27 yards, but believe me, he can tag on a lot in a hurry. Tennessee, good recruiting class too, and Johnny Major said, I don't really like talking about pure freshmen a lot because they have to perform before I say they're great, but he does like these guys. Patrick Lenore, Andy Kelly, Casey Rogers, and Von Reeves. Von Reeves is a tight end, a pure freshman who played some for Tennessee already this year. 2nd and short, Bulldogs. Rodney Peters, 1st down, Bulldogs.
And this is the type of offense that I think you're going to see from Mississippi State throughout the year. They need to have a ball control offense because their defense is going to be outmanned when they're playing some of these SEC teams. Not in terms of heart and desire, but in terms of size and ability and depth. And the best, I tell you what, we used to love it in the old days with the Dolphins. Greasy put together these 10-minute drives, and we just sit there and drink Gatorade.
1st down, Mississippi State. David Fair gets nothing as he tests the left side of the Tennessee defensive line. David Johnson made the stop. 4:33 to go, 3rd quarter. Tennessee leading 17-3. Our spotter today, Kim Anderson. Stats by Alex Vergara, and our booth manager is Rose Smith, who's doing a very good job, but chewing her fingers down to the knuckles. She's tense in the game.
2nd down and 9.
2nd down 9. Shovel pass to Rodney Peters. Got a couple, not much. This Tennessee defense seemingly playing better and better as the game goes along with the tackle.
Interesting looking play, trying to suck the contain to the outside and then run the option back inside. With number 52, Jason Little. Good blocking by Miner. Bango. Keith DeLong. Son of the former great Tennessee player from the mid-60s, Steve DeLong. Gives him a head full there.
Steve was Outland Trophy winner. On the third down, Williams overthrows badly. We talked to Rocky Felker. He looked for Rodney Peters. We talked to Rocky Felker about the arm of Albert Williams. It's questionable, and they've been working on fundamentals very hard with the young man, but as you can see, he's still struggling with the passing game.
He seems to have a lot harder time with the short pass than the long ball, and Steve Logan's a quarterback coach here, was at Colorado for the last couple of years, working with the running backs, and they changed his motion a little bit. They changed Williams' motion a little bit, and he's getting a lot better. Whoa.
Almost blocked. Parks did get it away. Fair catch at the 34-yard line from Andre Kramer. The Volunteers will take over there with 3:19 to go, third quarter, 28-yard punt. Parks just not getting the job done in terms of punting distance here for the Bulldogs today, and this field position really hurts them because they have, as Tim pointed out, been able to move the ball on Tennessee. They've come up with only 3 points in a little more than 2.5 quarters. Cleveland and Thomas Woods split wide to the left side for the Volunteers on the first down. Out of bounds at about the 36, Reggie Cobb. Well, we've got a veteran junior in Jeff Francis playing for Tennessee, who's thrown for a TD and 175 yards, and the freshman, 6 of 14, is Albert Williams with 73 yards. Williams didn't throw very much at all in his first game against Southwestern Louisiana.
He didn't, and you also have to compare styles of offense when you're making a comparison like that, because Mississippi State's the type of team that throws it down the field. Tennessee will throw a lot of screens, dump the ball to their backs a lot, so you're going to have a higher percentage of completions there.
Second down, 6 from the 36. Cobb. Short of the first down, he goes down at the 40. Reggie Cobb's had 13 carries today. We talked with him yesterday. I said, what, are you one of these backs who likes to carry it a lot? And that sounds funny, but a lot of them do. They say, I need it 25 times. And he said, yes, sir, I'd like to have it 25 times a game.
Every great back that I've ever been around likes it that way, because you're going to have, you play an O.J. Simpson, you're going to have a lot of games where 1 yard, a half yard, lose 2. But what you're playing for is the percentages, and he's got the ability to go 80, and you know he's going to do it eventually.
Well, the Bulldog defense rise to the occasion again. 3rd and 2, Tennessee. Cobb. Breaking tackles. Penetrates Bulldog territory. Reggie Cobb with his 14th carry of the day. He's up over 70 yards on the afternoon. McCullough with the stop.
Toss to the wide side, just trying to lock up, look for the hole, find the opening. Bo Russell turns it back in. James Williams not able to make the stop as McCullough finally corrals him. And Asa Bennett.
You see the numbers on Cobb, 5'11", 205. He's up to about 210 now. He's not a massive big back. He's plenty strong. On the first down, Francis keeps it, gets a yard or 2 and not much more. That's certainly not what Tennessee had in mind. 4 tackles on the day now for Darren Martin. It's about 85 degrees here in Starkville.
Actually, what they were trying to do is bait the Bulldogs secondary. They were trying to get Milton Smith to bite inside. They ran Terrence Cleveland down to the inside and broke him back, drove him back to the outside.
We're still trying to get a report for you on the severity of the injury to the outside linebacker for Tennessee, Darren Miller. He went off with a leg injury. We don't know how serious yet. Penalty markers everywhere. Looked like Simons, the left tackle, may have moved. That's a freshman with the ball, number 42, Roland Poles from Caledonia, New York. And Johnny Majors likes Poles a lot, too. We've been talking about Cobb.
Yeah, especially, I think it's a good combination.
False start. Interior lineman move.
O.J. Simpson, Jim Braxton was a fullback, and he's got to be an unselfish guy. He's got to be a guy that's powerful, and that's a good blocker that can take on that strong linebacker, that defensive end, and be the final thing that clears the way for that running back.
Retaping the left ankle of Jesse Anderson, the tight end for Mississippi State. I'm not sure. I don't think he's injured. Second down, 13 from the 49. Francis, some pressure. They flush him out. Now it goes to the screen.
It is complete, and it is to that man again. Reggie Cobb
to the 8-yard line. Jeremiah Sangster with the stop. Oh, my, you're seeing a star in the making here today, folks. Reggie Cobb, the freshman from Knoxville.
Watch these linemen get out in front of this play and go. Watch them now. It's a well-coached offensive line. Phil Fulmer, their offensive line coach, they work on this a lot. The ball is out there, and you see a lot of linemen run down the field and not hit anybody. They're clearing people out of the way, and just a lot of hustle and a lot of athletic ability displayed by those guys as they try to get their hat on somebody downfield. There's Sangster. He didn't gonna miss him that time.
First and goal from the 9. Big William Howard, the fullback, carrying this time inside the 5. They'll spot it at the 3. Reggie Cobb had 87 yards receiving, as you saw a moment ago. He has 77 yards rushing. He's run for a touchdown, caught a pass for a touchdown, and he's also returned 2 kicks for a total of 49 yards. So he's up over 200 yards in total offense today. It's the end of the 3rd quarter. Tennessee threatening, leading by a score of 17-3. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System. Ready for the 4th and final quarter of play from Scott Field in Starkville, Mississippi. About 85 degrees, clear blue skies here in central Mississippi on the campus of Mississippi State University. The University of Tennessee leading by a score of 17-3. And it'll be 2nd and goal from the 4. This was set up by the Reggie Cobb run after the reception. It's Howard and Poles in the backfield now for Tennessee. Wilson also back there. He's in motion. Here's Cobb. Touchdown. Reggie Cobb. That's 3 touchdowns on the day for Reggie Cobb.
Let's watch the blocking here as it develops. When you get a toss like this in a goal line situation, you have to get somebody upfield right now. The longer they stretch it out, the less your chances are of stopping the play. Bo Russell tries to sneak through and make it, but he just can't. Too strong. Good job of blocking by Tennessee.
One after attempt by Phil Rich is good, barely. And it's Tennessee 24, Mississippi State University 3. Tennessee's 3 touchdowns have been scored by Reggie Cobb with a big assist from Smokey, the Blue Tick Hounds.
Checks out fine. Everything's okay. It takes a lot of teamwork at Delta to give you the best service. And as a mechanic, I make sure everything's ready to go. All with one thing in mind, a safe, comfortable flight. Hey, Bob, we take a lot of pride in what we do. I like working on our airplanes, and I sure love working for Delta.
Delta gets you there. We get you there with care.
When you're rocking down the highway, keep your engine rolling with a motor oil specially formulated for your car. Valvoline has high-performance formulas for turbo cars, 4-cylinder cars, hard-driven cars, all cars. Valvoline. Motor oil is not just motor oil.
Today's game is sponsored in part by Budweiser Beechwood Age for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all you do, this Bud's for you.
Let's see it again from ground level. There's Bo Russell moving with the man in motion. Dwayne King, number 49, steps up inside. Barlow gets blocked here by Kevin Simons, and that's what creates the seam. Cobb, obviously looking for that green grass, darts into the end zone.
Reggie Cobb with 217 yards and 3 touchdowns today. 2 running, 1 receiving. There's Borgonone, who's got the strong kickoff leg for Tennessee, the freshman from Reno, Nevada, who does the kicking and is the kickoff guy. He's the kicker of the future here for Tennessee. John Moore is the man who touched it down. It'll come out to the 20-yard line, and Reggie saying hi to the folks in Knoxville.
It's always interesting to see how a young freshman handles the kind of notoriety that's obviously going to come to him as a result of his performance so far. He's got 3 more years in college. There's a lot of carries left, right, Bob?
A lot of carries before he joins the ranks of the great college backs, but he's certainly off to a great start. Tennessee leading 24-3. Here's the pitch to David Fair, trying to make a name himself. And he fumbles the ball. It ran right out of his hands, and he was trying to change arms with it, I think, out to the 43, loses it. Tennessee recovery. David Fair with an excellent run himself and was a step away from breaking it when it popped loose. And is this ever symbolic of this game? Hank Phillips ran it 61 yards in the opening moments of the game and fumbled it, and now David Fair, after breaking a beauty, loses the ball. Tennessee has it. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System.
Fair is clear of the line of scrimmage. Here you see Killebrew working on McDaniel. McDaniel gets back and reaches in there. It doesn't really affect him at all, but as he tries to switch the ball just falls out. Quite unlike the Phillips fumble that was caused by the defense. And the big thing there, I think, is just don't let that young man get down on himself. He's got a lot of great runs left in him.
Francis, under a lot of pressure, throwing on the run, incomplete. Back there in his face was redshirt freshman Reggie Stewart, one of those young men that Rocky Felker says he likes so much. He's a pure freshman. He likes so much in this 1987 recruiting class. And he was right in the face of Francis, who had to just get rid of it. Penalty marker down. Ineligible receiver downfield against Tennessee.
I doubt that Tennessee will be able to complete another one of those screens for a large gain. That time Darren Martin was right in the middle of it. They're looking for it now, and it's just been an effective tool all afternoon for them.
Well, Tennessee going for 8 wins in a row. The last time Tennessee's lost a football game was November 8th, 1986. Of course, one of the other losses to Tennessee last year was up there at Neyland Stadium when Mississippi State came from behind and won the ball game.
Charging upfield, and the linemen do a good job setting it up, but Martin's right over in the middle of it. Eric Stills is downfield on Milton Smith.
Second down 10 from the 43. Tennessee quarterback Jeff Francis barking instructions, checking off, complete to Harper and out of bounds at the 43-yard line. The redshirt freshman from Frost-Proof, Florida, 6'5". Great high jumper, holds the Florida high school record for the high jump.
And Johnny Majors, we talked to him a little bit yesterday, tried to get him to talk about Auburn. He didn't want to talk about Auburn. His mind was on Mississippi State, but yeah, on the plane home, I guarantee he'll be thinking a lot about Auburn. A big game for both schools coming up in 2 weeks, and we'll be doing that game from Knoxville.
Third down 4 from the 37. Francis completes it to number 10, Vincent Moore from Memphis. He's a redshirt freshman. We saw those stats on the Tennessee defense and how opportunistic they've been and how they have led to point totals for the University of Tennessee. There are now 10 turnovers caused by the University of Tennessee defense. Tennessee's only given it away 2 times, so that's a 5-to-1 ratio.
And I think a point to make here is they've done that without a lot of blitzing. They've just played smart, intelligent, get the ball kind of football, and given the opportunity, they're in there digging and grabbing and reacting on the football when it's in the air. And you don't have to get a lot of turnovers. You don't have to blitz. You don't have to have that super pressure on the quarterback all the time. But you do have to work on it.
Darren Miller, we had talked about Darren Miller being out earlier with a leg injury. He is back in there, so he's okay, and he has 2 fumble recoveries today. The other linebacker, Kelly Ziegler, has the interception, so those linebackers have been responsible. That reminds him, Dale Jones will be very proud of those young men. Dale, from a couple of years ago, was the big turnover guy for Tennessee. 4th down, a yard. Tennessee's going for it with Howard. He gets the 240 pounds airborne and takes it over for the first down.
Rocky distraught. Could have been a much different afternoon, Bob. The kickoff return that got called back, the Phillips fumble, could have been much different for him. Has to be pleased with a 17-play drive against a very good Tennessee defense.
210 yards rushing, 73 yards passing for Mississippi State. They moved the ball. Gain of about 3 that time. Vando Davis, the ball carrier. 7:21 to go in the ball game. We mentioned earlier, and we'll just remind you again, that Keith Davis, the junior starting tailback for Tennessee, is out with the knees, had a history of knee trouble, and Reggie Cobb has stepped in there, and it's going to be hard to get Reggie Cobb out of that backfield. But Vando Davis is not chopped liver either. Tennessee's got a host of running backs, and Wilson and Howard and Poles at the fullback position. It's a good Tennessee team you're watching here today. Vando Davis inside the 25 to about the 24-yard line as the clock gets down to 12:50 remaining in the game, and Tennessee at this point in clear control of this ball game. The Bulldogs have self-destructed.
They have to feel good about the job that Albert Williams has done for them. He's done a nice job of running the football team, of being a field general. Only a couple of poor passes, both of them on short little dumps.
Third down 3 from the 24 for the Volunteers. Vando Davis to the 7. It may be time to say that Reggie Cobb, yes, is a tremendously talented freshman, but you notice when the other tailback goes in there, he gets big yardage, and that's because of the big boys up front.
And look at him get that. There's Galbraith. He's just walling off. Nobody there to block for him, really, and receivers hustling downfield to make contact. Old Milton Smith hangs on. Make them line up again. That's your philosophy on defense. Make them run the play again, because anything can happen.
They hand it to Poles, the freshman. Extra effort just outside the goal line. Roland Poles weighs, ready for this, 250 pounds.
You know, it's always amazing when you run into guys that size, Bob, how athletic they can be, how well coordinated they are, what they quick feet. I bet he dances good, you know.
We're not sure about that. That's just a guess.
You know, they've got so much quickness. You know, how big can they get and still stay quick? You see some of these fellas, it's amazing, especially when they're running over you.
Reminds me of the old Paul Brown backs, the Cleveland Browns. They used to have big 250-pound fast guards, they said. They give it to Poles again. No problem this time from half a yard out. Touchdown, Tennessee. So Tennessee laying a whooping on the Bulldogs here today in Starkville, 30-3.
You can just hear the tractor winding up, and there he goes. Boom. Get too far.
Phil Rich in for the point after touchdown. 11 minutes to go in this ball game. Tennessee's offensive line, we knew they were going to be strong in the middle with Kirk and Bruin and Galbraith. Tackles have played well, tight ends have blocked well, and as Tim pointed out on that last run by Vando Davis, the wide receivers out there taking care of business, blocking and getting this team to move. Tennessee leads 31-3.
These days, people talk a lot about truth in labeling.
College won its last 8 games last year, and now its first 2 games this year. Boston College taking on Temple. Watch quarterback Mike Power with a pump fake, looking for Darren Flutie, who is wide open. Flutie hauls it in. He had 2 touchdowns, over 125 yards in receiving. The final 28-7. Boston College has won 10 in a row. Back to Mississippi State in Tennessee.
Well, the Flutie bloodlines continuing at Boston College. The Eagles having no problem. Tennessee 31-3. Here comes John Moore. Here he comes to the 22, and then hello, that was 44 Mike Kelly, a freshman linebacker that Johnny Majors was talking about liking very much. And you can see why, as he made a great play there on special teams. Tennessee only had to take it 43 yards, took them 3.5 minutes for the touchdown and the 31-3 lead with 11 minutes to go in this ball game.
Rick Williams at quarterback for Mississippi State.
David Fair out to the 26-yard line. David Fair has 53 yards and 11 carries today. He's running the ball pretty well, and of course he had the big fumble earlier. Georgia with a big lead over Oregon State. Lars, as our producer Skip Ellison said, Lars for the Heisman. Tate has 4 touchdowns in that game. Georgia's great tailback. We'll be seeing Georgia on our telecast somewhere down the line. You can bet on that. You'll get a chance to see Lars Tate. Some great running backs in the SEC this year. On 2nd down 8. Overthrown. Penalty marker down in the backfield of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Mike Whitehead came right up the middle on that. Kentucky with their season opener 35-0 at half. Speaking of running backs, Mark Higgs has 2 touchdowns in that game.
130 yards rushing. So
you picked the best back.
Things going up in Lexington.
They've got 3 good. Ivory Joe Hunter, Higgs, and Logan. 3 really good tailback, halfbacks at the University of Kentucky. So there are a lot of good backs all over the country. Emmett Smith, the freshman down at Florida. Alabama's Bobby Humphrey. Everybody thinks he's got the potential to be a Heisman candidate this year. I know I feel that way about it. So you look around the conference, and there are a lot of them.
Every time you get to Starkville, you got to think about our old buddy Jerry Clower. Knock him out, John.
Clower played here. Well, what was it, 1946? If I'm wrong, he'll write me a letter. He's
just like me, got overlooked for the Heisman.
2nd down 20 from the 12. Here is number 31, Orlando Wade. Into the backfield. Good penetration by Tennessee secondary that time. Able to play it well. 10:08 to go in the ball game. Auburn, we don't have any running backs. We talked about Auburn because, you know, the Bo Jackson era, so to speak, may be over. And here's the thing you know about Auburn. Later in the year, one of the running backs will be a star because that's how good that football team is.
Yeah, and we saw the University of Miami defense last week, and Auburn's got to be one of the top defenses in the country also.
Albert Williams connects to Wade, the freshman. Nice grab. Orlando Wade from Spring Hill, Tennessee. Playing on the wrong side of the state here. 23-yard reception for the true freshman, 18 years old.
You have to throw this one on a line. He does, and just great concentration by Wade. He knows he's going to get wrapped. And beautiful catch. To go, Orlando. Tell you what, they've got a lot of potential weapons here at Mississippi State.
1st down 10 from the 36. Bulldogs trailing 31-3. This ball game is over in terms of the Bulldogs being able to win it, but they might be able to prove to themselves that they can come back here. They give it to Wade. Not much. 4 Tennessee players there at the ball. 4 of them. There's Kelly Ziegler. He's had 7 tackles and interception today. He is the prototype Tennessee linebacker. We talked to him yesterday. Ask him about his heroes.
Of course, there's Dick Butkus. Ever since I was a little kid, I've seen highlights on him, and he just did some incredible things while he was playing. And being from Tennessee now, Hacksaw Reynolds. First a name like Hacksaw, you gotta like the guy for that. And he did some great things while he was at Tennessee, so he's probably the best known one coming out of there.
Williams, incomplete. He was looking for Heath Jackson, the tight end, as opposed to Keith Jackson, the great receiver at Oklahoma. There's Kelly Ziegler. Asked him what he was going to do. He said, well, maybe pro football, but I'll just let that see. He is a sports medicine physiologist and says he's leaning toward that area. And, Tim, your body will be coming completely apart in another year or so you might...
That's a good idea in the last couple of years if you play for Tennessee to be aware of what's going to come apart. Kelly played for Jesse Davis down at Palmetto High School, down in South Miami area. Great high school athlete. I think he was a Miami News Football Player of the Year.
3rd down 9 from the 37. Williams connects to Wade again. 1st down. Orlando Wade making himself heard out of the backfield late in the ball game. The 18-year-old freshman. 13-yard gain on that one. Albert Williams getting the ball a little bit more on the money now. And Albert Williams, there's no question from watching him practice and seeing him even in this game thus far, obviously has the skills to be a very good quarterback. We know he can run, but it's looking to me as though they're going to have him throw the ball more than the great Don Smith did. I mean, I think that's more part of the thinking here.
And I think he has the benefit of having a counter punch. Don Smith was it. I mean, once that was over, that was all. But he's got some kids that can really run with him.
Look at Williams. Oh, nice job by Albert Williams. He did that right on cue, too. We appreciate that, Albert. You have a great sense of television about you.
And Rocky's got a real creative offensive mind. He's just, and you know what? He's developing a sense of humor. I think last year he was really tight, you know, and really concerned coming in here trying to turn things around. He had joked earlier about, we had talked about the Tennessee speed on offense and defense, and he said, well, I thought about letting the grass grow, decided against it, but the computer that runs the sprinkler on the field, I've been having trouble with that, so don't be surprised if that comes on at halftime.
To the 36, number 22, Marcus Bush. 8:19 to go in this ball game. Johnny Majors has the game well in hand, 31-3. But Mississippi State really racking up the yardage. Just nothing but 3 points on the scoreboard, though, thanks primarily to fumbles, interceptions, and turnovers, and in that, I think, probably some other mistakes in regards to penalties, because in the first half of this ball game, Mississippi State was penalized right out of a couple of drives. 2nd and 7 from the 36 of Tennessee. Williams to Wade. It's knocked loose. They'll call it incomplete. Well, that was an Orlando Wade sandwich with mustard. Ooh, what a
nice
hit that
throw,
was.
though. Nice throw. He really stuck it in the seam and able to hang on. Talk to, you know, baseball is big here at Mississippi State, obviously, and they just built a big stadium out here. They call it Polk's Palace. Ron Polk is a baseball coach here. And I got some interesting statistics to tell you after this play.
I saw him before the game, and I said, Tim was over watching baseball practice early in the week. He says, Tim Foley knows what the national pastime is. Spoken like a baseball coach. Williams, incomplete. He wanted to get out there on the left side to Tim Green, but too many Tennessee defenders.
That one just got away. But as you know, I was a baseball coach in the spring, and so I was trying to refine my skills.
We're talking Little League here.
Hey, you know, what do you mean Little League? But anyway.
Mark the name of Tommy Foley down.
But anyhow, we're talking to Polk, and he says that 5% of the players that sign a pro contract to play Major League Baseball, 5% of them ever play one day in the majors. And out of those 5%, only 6% play 4 years or more.
So Ron's telling his collegiate baseball players who are good players, go to class, young man, because you're probably going to be working for a living. That's what the percentages are saying. You're watching SEC football on the Turner Broadcasting System.
Now's the time to take advantage. Now's the time to take advantage.
It is 4th down 7 for the Bulldogs. They're going to, of course, trailing 31-3, go for it with 7:38 to go in the ball game. Only 4 men rushing for Tennessee. Williams with plenty of time. And Rodney Peters couldn't hold on to it. Would have been a first down. Well, the Bulldogs self-destructing today. We said it before, and we'll say it again. There's a good example. A lack of concentration there. I'm sure that the young man Rodney Peters heard some footsteps coming with the Tennessee defensive backs about to lay a big hit on him, but nevertheless he should have caught it. Bulldogs turn it over at the 36-yard line. You want to know how tough it is in the 4th quarter. Look at those stats. These are the totals this year counting this game. Tennessee 37-3 in the 4th quarter. And now Tennessee has substituted a redshirt freshman from Passaic, New Jersey at quarterback. His name is Sterling Hinton, and a lot of people say Hinton reminds them of the Holloways and Streeters at Tennessee, that he can do something on the corner, as they like to say. Vando Davis, the ball carrier, but this is potentially the quarterback of the future for the University of Tennessee, Sterling Hinton.
Talked to Walt Harris in terms of what he looks for in a quarterback, and the first thing he looks for is an arm, and after that looks for if a young man's got character. Will he be dedicated to developing his skills? And they feel like Hinton's going to be that type of player.
Vando Davis with the stop of the backfield. The penalty is going to be against the University of Tennessee. James Williams playing very well today. Holding is the call against Tennessee.
Looked like number 68, Joey Howard. He played a little offense and defense last week against Colorado State.
So Tennessee going to get out of this game with a win with 6 minutes and 50 seconds to go, leading 31-3.
Holding, offense, penalty decline, 3rd down.
Tennessee has a week off next week, and then Auburn at Knoxville.
See, number 68 had trouble getting his head up in front and just got slipped an elbow behind him, locked him up a little. It's always tempting. Those offensive players can use their hands now. It becomes harder and harder to tell whether it's holding or not.
Hinton, let's check his arm. Oh, my. Ho-ho! Sterling Hinton gets a great catch from the senior, Kennard McGuire. Oh, there's a 30-06 on the end of that right arm, 51 yards.
And this is the type of pass you'd like to get up earlier, and he's got somebody in his face. And you'd like to get it up higher in the air, but Kennard McGuire does just an exceptional job coming back and adjusting on the ball. Trying to keep... Yeah! All right.
Kennard says, hope the folks in Passaic are watching that one. Tennessee with a big lead, and they're just running it now. That's Poles with the ball down there inside the 20-yard line. 31-3, Tennessee. We were talking about Auburn. Auburn will be off next week. And the University of Tennessee will be off, and both of them will be preparing for that big game in 2 weeks at Knoxville. And we'll have that telecast for you here on the Superstation. Both of them will probably be undefeated. Auburn playing Kansas at Auburn today. Here's Poles, close to the first down, and about the 7-yard line. And as you look at Tennessee's schedule down the line, I said this earlier, Tim. I know you tend to agree with me. I said if they could get into the Auburn game in good shape, and that remains to be seen, then it'll be California at Knoxville, Alabama at Birmingham, Tech at Knoxville, Georgia Tech, Boston College up there, Louisville at Knoxville, Ole Miss at Knoxville, Kentucky at Lexington, and Vanderbilt. Tennessee's got a shot to be a dark horse championship contender in the SEC this year.
Oh, I don't think, I think it's beyond dark horse now. Everybody was concerned about whether their defense was going to come to play this year, because last year they had such a problem. There were such high expectations defensively, and Ken Donahue was saying maybe just a little bit self-satisfied. You know, when you eat all those banquet dinners and you listen to people tell you how great you are, and you're 19 years old, you think sometimes you gotta show up to win the next year. And it's week after week after week. You have to go out and prove it again.
Hovanek and Hunt should be back for Tennessee's defense for the Auburn game, too. Poles gets the first down. 4:57 to go in this ball game. The Mississippi State Bulldogs have a relatively good schedule, favorable schedule for them up until the end of the year. It'll be Louisiana State next week here at Starkville, and Florida at Gainesville, Memphis State at Starkville, Southern Miss at Jackson. But then, get this, they call it the November Nightmare. It starts in October this year with Auburn there, Alabama at Birmingham, Tulane at Starkville, then LSU at Baton Rouge, and Ole Miss at Jackson. So the last part of the year, as usual, is going to be really rugged for the Bulldogs. First and goal from the 6. William Howard. Big tackle by 38 James Williams. He's had himself a good defensive day today for Mississippi State. He's batted the ball out of the air 2 times early in the game when Francis was trying to throw short. He now has 6 tackles in the game. He's sophomore from Natchez.
And he and Middlebrook have been going at it all afternoon. John Rollins, the 2 tight ends. Because they felt like, I think, with the Cedric Course out of the game, they felt like they could work on Williams a little bit. And as you pointed out, he has responded well.
Hinton, 4 for 4 for 111 yards passing in 1987. Tennessee just running it up the middle. That was Poles again. Roland Poles from Caledonia, New York.
Bates brings him down. They're trying to add a little bit of size in the middle of that Mississippi State defensive front. They've got Bobby Barlow, who's a converted tight end from last year, playing defensive tackle, and they had hoped on redshirting him and try to beef him up a little bit, but he was pressed into service, and he's a hustler. He's quick, but not very big.
Third down goal from the 4 for Tennessee. Hinton's going to keep it. Touchdown. Sterling Hinton, the redshirt freshman quarterback, throws a 50-yard pass, then he runs it in from the 4-yard line, and Tennessee really laying it on the Bulldogs.
gets Bates to bite on that one, and then it's just slithering in. 6 points. The Volunteers, they're going to be strong, Bob. You have to understand they're doing this without some excellent players, you know, and I would say that Hovanek and Hunt will probably be healthy by the Auburn game.
So Tennessee takes a 38-3 lead as Hinton runs it into the end zone. Also showed an excellent arm on that drive. High fashioned here at Scott Field in Starkville, Mississippi. 85 degrees. Beautiful afternoon. If you're a Mississippi State fan, that's about all you can say. They're losing 38-3 to Tennessee with 3:18 remaining in the ball game. Orlando Wade is back to take the kick return. True freshman. Gets it to the 20 and down he goes. He was stopped by 31 Tom Bronson. Some scores around the nation. Georgia with no problem at all. Lars Tate with 4 touchdowns last time I checked. 41-7 in the 4th. Oklahoma struggling with North Carolina, but the North Carolina's pretty strong too. Pittsburgh easy game against NC State. Boston College wins against Temple 28-7. Syracuse leading Rutgers. And Air Force ahead of TCU. Mike Davis now playing quarterback as Albert Williams has gone out for a rest because this game is history. It's pitched to Fair.
David Fair. Now you see his speed. He's chased by the speed merchant Tennessee backs, and they can't catch him. 21 was Preston Warren, the freshman, trying to catch up to him. 6 was Tony Nelson, and David Fair, wham, bam, thank you, 79 yards. And that freshman finally breaks one, and you had said it earlier, Tim. The good backs like to keep getting it and getting it because you know sooner or later they're going to get it out there. And look at the speed. He just left the defensive backs. Now, the track stars, McDaniel Peppers, were not in there for Tennessee. Here's the point after. Joel Logan. It's good. And MSU gets their first touchdown of the day with 2:57 to go in the ball game. And now they trail Tennessee 38-10. David Fair can fly.
Talk about the great running, the I-backs being able to make ground back to the inside. Looking for the cutback, and there it is. What was it? Got it walled off by Ty Johnston, and then he's off and flying. Tony Nelson trying to chase him. Preston Warren. They can't catch him. He was embarrassed when he fumbled the ball, and he's got something to show these hometown fans here in Starkville.
133 yards rushing on the day for David Fair. And 1 touchdown.
And he's 227. I mean, he was 220 when they wrote the program, but you know, he's eating good here, and he is, as you say, rock hard, and he's going to be a great athlete.
So David Fair and Reggie Cobb put on a running back show here for the freshman runners. .57 to go in the ball game, and Greg James, the kickoff man, is going to probably attempt an onside kick here. Mississippi State trailing 38-10. It's got to go 10 yards and isn't going to. They'll just spot it right there at the... It has to go 10 yards for it to be Mississippi State's ball, so even though they fell on it, it's still Tennessee's, is what I'm trying to tell you. Mississippi State has more total offense than Tennessee today, 418 to 384. Tennessee has it on the board, 38-10.
At the 43.
Next week at 12:30 Eastern Time, Tim and I and our crew will be in Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama for Florida and Alabama. Hinton hands it to Vando Davis. He dives forward, clock down to 2:50. Tim, I've been touting Tennessee as a team better than most people around the nation think they're going to be this year, and you've been saying that the same is true in your opinion about Alabama.
I do. I think Alabama's got a lot of high-quality players there. Perkins and his staff did a great job recruiting while they were there, and I think Curry is going to do a fine job for them. And they got Don Lindsay there as a defensive coordinator, so nobody's going to score a lot of points on them. I think they'll run. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I think they'll beat Penn State tonight.
Vando Davis with the carry. That'll be a tough one. Penn State is favored at State College, Pennsylvania. Alabama has Florida in the game that we'll telecast next week. Then Alabama will play at Vanderbilt. Southwest Louisiana at Birmingham, and Mississippi State clobbered them. And then Memphis State, Tennessee at Birmingham, October 17th, of course, a big one. Toward the end of the year, though, the last 5 games for Tennessee, for Alabama, will be Tennessee, Mississippi State, LSU, Notre Dame, and Auburn. So they've got a real difficult schedule at the end. And David Fair making up for the fumble with a 79-yard touchdown run.
A running back also has to know when to turn it back in there and fight too. There's some times when there's just nothing home and you got to get down. You can only take so many shots in an afternoon.
That's Von Reeves. He's the 18-year-old freshman from Knoxville being helped off the field for Tennessee. Report remind you again that a very big blow to the offensive line plans for Mississippi State happened in the first half, and that's when Gary Frank got a break in his left leg. The pro prospect, 6'4", 300-pound tackle for Mississippi State has a small break, but nevertheless a break in his leg. About 10 yards on the carry for Vando Davis. Clock down to 1:43 and counting. We'll have all the college football scores from today's action. Very heavy schedule today. Coming your way immediately after. Craig Sager will be in the studio in Atlanta. Johnny Majors, who never will quite say, yeah, I really think this bunch is going to really roll. He's the classic coach. He's always looking for something that he can get better with. But he has to be encouraged with all the injuries Tennessee has suffered here early in the year, that they're going to leave Starkville 3-0. This run by Roland Poles, the 250-pound freshman fullback inside the 10. 1:14 to go in the game. First and goal, Tennessee. That was a gain of 15 yards.
Now watch this. If you can stop this guy, if you can stop this rascal, show some quickness, nifty, fights off one blocker, pop, see you later. If you can stop him, understand that you're looking at Reggie Cobb. And if you try to stack your defense inside, they've got those fleet-footed wide receivers out there that can hurt you.
This is Vando Davis, short of the 5-yard line. Clock down to 46 and counting. Tennessee leading 38-10, and Johnny Majors will probably just keep running this right up the middle of the line and let the clock run out. They'll have to play at least one more play, and Rocky Felker have his team be 1-1 after this ball game, and he's got to get them ready for next week and hopefully keep the heads up of this Mississippi State Bulldog team. They've got a tough schedule this year. He says he thinks that this is potentially a better team than last year's Mississippi State Bulldog team, which got off to the 6-1 start. On the sweep to the 1-yard line. Tennessee denied the end zone. Vando Davis tackled there, and the clock is going to just run out. 6-5 and counting.
I don't think there's any question that he's got more skill on this team than he had on last year's team.
Tennessee with a 38-10 victory. 8 wins in a row. Tennessee has not lost a game since November 8 of '86. They'll rest next week and then play at Auburn at Tennessee against Auburn on the Superstation in 2 weeks.